And just like that, as if it never even happened, we are back where it all began again. Welcome back to the stream. It has been a week somehow already since the final of Eurovision 2026. The weather is glorious. I am drinking ice water because it is absolutely boiling. But I hope the weather is equally glorious where all of you are. Thank you so much for the subscription, FQ bulk. Wow. Well, it feels like it's flown by, to be honest. I can remember as if it was 5 minutes ago, every detail of last Saturday, such was its ups and downs and its stresses and its pressures. But it did somehow conclude with us continuing on this sort of slightly mad, crazy train, at least in the near future, because for now, Eurovision has not died. So today what we're going to do, we're going to go through we're going to go through the results in a lot more detail. We haven't really had time to do this yet. We had an immediate reaction last week. And then we had, obviously, the video where I did a sort of broad overview, which came out yesterday. The thing is that, obviously, now that Bulgaria has won Eurovision, it's only right for us to take a look through the results with Europe's angriest Bulgarian. For that reason, it is a pleasure to welcome back to the ESC Game stream, Mr. Gotham, who is muted.
Hello, guys!
That was really out of sync when you said hello, guys, as well. So you're like, hello, guys.
Well, I apologize. We don't have a lot of technology back home in Eastern Europe, but thank you for having me. It's been ages since I've been here in this spot. So yeah, I'm very happy to be back.
It's really nice to have you back. And for the first time ever, Eurovision is coming to your home city. Eurovision is coming to your home city.
I know. It's it's insanity, and it still hasn't sunk in properly that we have won after so many attempts over the past decade or so. So I am just at a loss for words. Like, I cannot imagine that this is happening.
Yeah. I mean, this is the crazy thing as well. I mean, we'll get into a lot more detail about this. But I don't think any element of this process, not just over the last few months, but over the last year, would I have expected to get to this point and have Bulgaria winning Eurovision. I didn't expect them to participate. And then I saw that national final and expected it to be a disaster. And then I saw how they were selecting the song and expected that to be disaster. Then they selected the song and I was like, well, I mean, it's fine. But it's just essentially one chorus for 3 minutes. And then all of a sudden I see it live at the semi-final. And that was not anything like what I would have thought it was going to be. Was there a moment in the week where you were like, hang on a minute?
Yeah, there was. So obviously I wasn't following the contest as up close as usual. Like, obviously I've been missing from the face of the earth for the past like 3 months. So it was a little weird following the contest this season. It didn't feel like usual. It didn't feel like I've been used to following it. So the first time it actually clicked in my head that we have a chance was after the second semifinal, especially on Friday, because I know someone who has connections to BNT, and I heard a couple of things about what the outcome might be. I'm not going to say anything, allegedly, of course, so
Okay.
I don't want to go to a courtroom. But that's when it clicked. And the moment we started like climbing in the odds, I was like, okay, hold on, this might be happening. And then on Saturday, I was actually, oh my God, guys, we might win. And me and my the people I watched it with, because I wasn't in Vienna or anything, so I watched it with a couple of friends because I didn't want to be by myself. And they were also Bulgarian. And before the results sequence started, we kind of like filmed something of everyone going like, what is your favorite? What do you think is going to win? Nobody said Bulgaria. I was the only person that said Bulgaria was going to win. So I felt very vindicated afterwards.
Well, I mean, this is the thing is, I mean, once we saw it, you know, it's felt like such an open season anyway. And there have been so many songs which were the favorites or considered, you know, okay, well, all of our accepted and logic based on the information we know from past years would suggest that X, Y, and Z thing is going to do well. You know, your Finland, Australia, France, things like this. And it was really confounding, I think, for a few reasons, not least because, to be honest, I think Dara, her performance was the only one where they showed up and I thought, this is actually coherent and it's world class, and the concept has been executed to the maximum time. There were other potentially winning concepts in there. I thought Finland had a concept that could have won, but it didn't change from UMK. And I said at UMK, this concept could win, this execution, as it stands in its current form, won't. So it was really, to be honest, when we got to it, the only performance that really deserved the win. Like, I don't mean that to be disrespectful to anyone else, not at all. But there was a very clear, like, sea change in the level when we saw that. It was like, wow, this really is world-class international standard. Like, this is what should be winning Eurovision. We're going to go through all the results today. But firstly, I do have some quick super chats and stuff that have come in while we've been doing our intro. So I want to say, Maiju says, had a similar crash out to Goddam's last year. He didn't believe in a Balkan win. I didn't believe in a small language win. Yes, let's never forget. I will always remember this. Walking away from the arena in Basel. Goddam, having been angrily shouting in Bulgarian down the phone. He gets on the phone and we go, Goddam, how you feeling? And he goes, a Balkan country can never win this contest.
That's true.
I did the juries will never allow it. And I was like, okay, man, let's just deep breaths.
We'll talk about it.
We'll come to that. Lucas says, have you ever been to Junior Eurovision? No. Winter, thank you so much for being a member. Says, honest vocal coach for the UK in 2027. At this point, might as well. Neuro, thank you so much. Goddam's joy is healing after his sense of defeat last year about Eastern Europe ever winning again after the German jury tanking. That still hurts, right? A little.
Last year.
Yeah, the German jury tank.
It did. The outcome of last year could have been different if the changes happened last year, in my opinion. Zierm could have went into the top 5, but like it's over at this point.
That's true. Life moves on. We have so much to talk about.
Exactly.
Hungry Yak, thank you for the Prime sub. And Halabasana says, with the change of aesthetics, Bangaranga is the forest rave of the year. Changed my mind. Well, it's interesting you say that because there was originally plans to make it like very like folksy, right? And they were going to have the sort of Bulgarian, I don't know what they're called, you know, the dancers with the fur.
Kukiri, yeah.
And they were going to have all of that and everything. And it would have had a very different vibe. I think they probably went for the right one. Pippintastic says, thank you, Gabe, for making me so happy last week with saying my semi-final idea was good. I think it was really cool. Gonomy, maybe you missed this. But what Pippintastic said was that people should vote in the semi-final they're not participating in. And I think it's a really interesting idea.
I've never thought of that.
I would like to see it. I would like to see it.
Me too. At this point, we're making so many changes. Why not try it out for a year?
Yes. But we have lots to get through. We're going to try and go through the sort of final results and the semi-results if we can, and pick out all the big stories, all the different things we want to talk about. What went well, what didn't went well. That's not grammatically correct. Look, the point is, here's your scoreboard. I imagine you haven't gotten tired of looking at this yet. Got him.
Mm-mm. No, that's really surreal.
I think in the week, thank you so much for the 333 Levi, who says, Gotham is back and showing more chest than Peter Parkkonen. Yes, and if you donate enough money, no. So we have on this side, what I will say is, this public score, I could see it winning the public. The jury,
Me too.
There has been some discourse about this. Two things. Firstly, winning the jury with 204 is exceptionally low. Like, an absolute aberration in terms of how low it is. So the people who are saying, oh, well, they only finished fifth in the jury in the semi-final, you're talking nonsense. No conspiracies here today. But secondly, I actually think it reflects that pop performances that are world-class, that are choreographed like this, that are really current, that you could put onto any stage and it wouldn't feel out of place, should be rewarded in this way. Were you surprised, especially given this is a country in the Balkans, to see the jury reward them in this way? Yeah,
I felt like we were gonna win the public after seeing the final performance. Mm-hmm. I could have never foreseen this jury result. I mean, we didn't win the jury by a mile, like the margin isn't that big. But to be fair, like in hindsight, now that I'm it's not happening right now, and I can go back and try and think about the reason why we won the juries. I think the biggest factor was the fact that they changed the criterions for the
Hmm.
jury, and now the originality of the song and the performance is the top criteria the juries should, favor, and then is the vocal. Because in past years, the vocal has been the utmost priority
At the
in the
same
jury's
time,
ranking.
at the same time, I have to say, I actually think that Dara probably did get a lot of credit for the vocal because even though it's not the most complex
Mhm.
vocal in the world, I saw a few juries who'd like posted after the show about who they ranked highly and why, who actually highlighted the fact that because of the complexity of the choreo and something, the control that she had to still sound as good as she did, for not just for the first minute, as we often see, but for the entire thing, was that I actually
Yeah.
think, yeah, and it's important because I hope it sends a bit of a signal to juries in the future to say you don't just have to vote for the person who's belting the big notes. Now, they did do that to an extent, of course, and I mean, we'll come on to Australia in a minute, but they did get hefty haul with the jury as well for their second place finish there. But it's so
Mhm.
encouraging for me in terms of what it means for the contest. Carlos says, anyone Gabe makes a video on, bet against that to win, you'll retire a millionaire. Yep, true. Kirkorov popping up mere hours, says Nero, after the win. This is something we should talk about because I will say that like he's a bit like a fart that hangs in the air.
Yeah, he is
And this
a
time,
pest.
it was really funny because he shows up after the fact. He goes, hey, it was me all along. As if it was some kind of dramatic reveal. Being like, haha, Russia wins. It's like, number one, we have the footage of when they first did the demo for this song. He was not there. Number two, we know like who the production team was. We know who was staging it. We know there are actually Ukrainians on the team who were like, huh? We never came
Yeah.
across him in this entire process. So let's maybe what I'm leaning towards here is, and I'm keen to hear your take, Colin, as a Bulgarian and a
Hmm.
Ukrainian. Um, what I just think Kirkorov is trying to take credit because it's Kirkorov and this is what he does. What's your thoughts?
Yeah, I completely agree. Nobody cares about him anymore. He's not particularly relevant anywhere else, not really even where he's operating right now. So this is just his desperate attempt to, cling on to the Eurovision brand because he has, been involved in Eurovision in the past quite extensively. Ever since 2022, just like the door has been completely closed. So this
Mm.
is like his last attempt to cling on to relevancy in this sphere. It's just really sad because now that Dara won, this whole issue of Kirkorov trying to, um, take credit for it has really damaged, the whole win in Ukraine, for example, because Ukrainians, I think this is influenced in the results. The news about the team Dara worked with, like who they were, and Dimitris Konstantinopoulos, who is like Greek and obviously
Mm.
has ties to Kirkorov. The news about that broke out in Ukraine before the contest even started, and I think this is reflected in the results
Yeah,
we
so
can
for
see from
context, as we can
Ukraine.
see there, for those of you who, in case you're on a phone or something, you can't see what I'm hovering over, Ukraine gave less points to this than any other country.
Yeah,
Four from the public, nothing at all from the jury.
and I'm
And
convinced it's because of the controversy.
you think so? Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean,
absolutely, absolutely.
I mean, it's one of those things. And what I think I've come to understand is this is a common trait. We see it in, you know, like there is a trait that I think Russians and Russia and Israel have in common in this contest at the moment, which is trying to make it all about themselves.
Yeah.
And I think we shouldn't allow characters of that type to impose themselves upon us. I just quickly want to do some more super chats because they're flying through at high speed. Thank you so much. Asni says, hey, Gabe, I love your content. Would you ever do a ranking every Eurovision edition video? I'd be highly interested. That could be tempting. Just an overall, yeah, maybe, but I'd have to do the ones that I know because I can't, like, how am I going to rank 1959? I wasn't there to see it. So it would be difficult. It's apples and oranges, but I'll think about it. Rat King says, I have to take responsibility for cursing Finland. Around this time last year, I made a set of predictions, one of which being no Sergio Hyan reaches the top 5. My bad, Finland fans. Yep, it's your fault, Rat King. If Slow Mo and Unicorn got high jury scores, says Przemek, why Bangaranga couldn't? Makes sense with great staging. Sure, Slow Mo and Unicorn got high jury scores. Neither of them won the jury. And in particular with Unicorn did not get close either. You know, I mean, we can sort of, it's back a few years, but if we look at 22 and 23 for those results, you'll see on the jury side, so Spain 2-3-1. So similarly, when you take into consideration the fact that there were two more countries participating than there are now, they did similarly, but that then again reflects like if this was also a world-class pop performance, so it shows the appeal was there. As for Unicorn, you know, it got 177, which is less, and also, I mean, it lost to Sweden by a quite extortionate, ridiculous margin. But in any case, I take your point though. Like, obviously, there are other examples of this. Ling Victic wants to point out that Dara assembled the same voting bloc, 300 public, 200 jury, as Rintin, Tagidem, Zitiaboni, Toy in 1944. That is true, but there's some that I would say where there's more similarities there than others. At the same time, you know, you can get to those points in different ways and appealing to different people. I'd argue that this probably appealed to a different set of voters to some of those others. Europencil says, Dara won the jury due to it consistently being in the top 10 of many jurors, not because everyone ranked it first. Delta couldn't overthrow Dara due to the dated sound. I think we should talk about whether this Australian song and the fact it didn't win shows that the contest has moved, but we'll come to that in a second, because obviously they were second. Quick Deck says Bangaranga, and then a bunch of Bulgaria flags. And Verneri says, God, I'm so sorry that the Finnish jury gave Dara nothing. After everything, Finland let you down. God, I'm so sorry.
It's fine. It's fine. I somehow will make it through. Mm-hmm. Can I say one more thing?
Yes.
About before we move to Australia? I like the comparison between Chanel and Unicorn, whatever. But we're forgetting the fact that Bangaranga is not that. I know it's in the niche of girly pop, bangers, whatever, but it's so much more experimental compared to those two. I feel like, especially Unicorn, it's very cookie cutter, you know, kind of like Blackpink influence, very pop, nothing too out there. In comparison, Bangaranga is so all over the place. The performance was all over the place. It was non-conventional. The song in itself is also not that conventional. I think it leans into more like, it's more trashy. It's more, again, in your face. It makes use of, like, you know, those, I don't want to say they're Balkan rhythms, but that's what people might think when they hear them. You know, it's more out there. It's not that safe. And I think that's why it won, because the song is not safe, the performance was not safe, and just the planets aligned in the perfect moment.
Yeah, everything came perfectly. It was one of those things that as soon as you had all of the favourites underperforming as well, it left the door open for someone to appear in the week and say, actually, you should have been looking at me the whole time. And I think that's kind of what happened. The other thing that occurred to me is, when was the last time a song in a major key won Eurovision? Because Bangaranga is in a major key. Thank you so much, Andrew. What are your thoughts about Martin Green's statements, especially a potential return of Russia? Also, got him see you at Vidbeer in 2027 potentially. On the first statement, I have no idea why. Like any organization that has a press operation should have answers to those kinds of things, like prepped and prepared in such a way that it, you know, precisely for these kinds of reasons, because the kinds of messages that you can end up sending by answering these questions off the cuff in a clumsy way causes so much damage, and it'll take a long time to rebuild that trust again. You know, this is already somebody who's in a position where I think most Eurovision fans don't trust them, and I don't think many Ukrainians and Ukrainian Euro fans are going to take particularly kindly to Martin Green appearing to go sort of, well, I mean, they could come back, you know, when the reality is they can't. The reality is they can't. No. He should have said, no, they won't return. They're not in the EBU. They broke the rules. They're out. As for the other thing, got him see you at Vidbeer. I hope I'll be seeing you at Vidbeer too, Gotham. That is number one on my list.
Me too. It definitely is on mine.
In any and all circumstances, essentially. Tattoo was in F Shot No, Tattoo was an F sharp minor. Someone said Tattoo was an F sharp major. It's an F sharp minor. I think, isn't it?
Don't ask me. I'm
Yeah, it's F sharp
not
minor.
that
It's an F
knowledgeable.
sharp minor. It's an F sharp minor. And also, someone says Bangaranga is not in a major key. I think it's Phrygian. Okay, this is getting too much too much music theory for one stream. Thank you for all the super chats. I will come back to them in a minute, but we're going to make our way down. It wasn't Australia next. We first have to go to the definitely legit scores for the definitely legit Israel and their definitely legit second place. I mean, this was clearly the second best song, right? Am I right? Yeah. Cut the shit. This is insulting our intelligence, as we know. I put out a video about this yesterday where we talked about it at length. I have to say though, and I'm sure now it's a week apart, I think we can also, I was ready to I was braced for that televote score because I 100% thought we were going to hear, knowing the amount of points that were left, I was terrified we were going to hear 370 or something. As it happens, Israel could have scored 370 and Bulgaria would have still won if they'd got the same score that they actually did. But, I do want to reiterate that this is not indicative of the fact that they're no longer manipulating the voting. It's the fact that clearly changes have been made to make it more difficult. And you can see that through sudden shifts from previous patterns. Australia, you'll notice, is not on this wheel of countries. 0 from the jury, 0 from the public. They gave Israel 12 points from the public, gave them 12 points the last 2 years. And all of a sudden, they finished outside of the top 20. The other one I want to point out is here, which is the rest of the world. Israel has never lost a rest of the world vote before this year. Never. And all of a sudden, they come 5th, 2nd in the semi, 5th in the final. There is, in my opinion, there's clear signs that it's almost like a reverse smoking gun where the fact that this is now happening shows something was happening that is now being detected, in my opinion. Obviously, we can't know for sure, but that's my take. I don't know if you really have anything to add about this, Colin, but I'm minded to just move on.
Yeah, it's just bullshit, all of it. This is just so not organic. Listen to the song, watch the performance, and come back.
Yeah.
There's just no way.
Yeah, and people are pointing out on the jury side, by the way, is that there's clearly it's a liability, a PR liability at the moment for people who are more pro-Palestine to be on juries. And they pointed out the example of Vicky Gabor in Poland, who got shit for it before the contest. Who got shit for it after the contest. And she ranked Israel last, and still got shit for it because she was on the jury. So, yeah. So I think this is a case of people who would be more likely to rank Israel down are not participating in juries now. There's a really interesting thing. For the last 2 years, Israel was ranked last by more jurors than any other country. This year, that wasn't the case. So the way the juries handled Israel changed this year because I think the people on the juries are different. Also, the change in complexion of the contest, if you take away Western European jurors, because I can guarantee they're not going to get many from Ireland or Spain this year if they'd been in the contest, I'd imagine, and go to countries. It's not that Eastern European countries are more pro-Israel. It's that the issue has less salience in Moldova or Bulgaria or Romania than it does in Ireland or Spain, for example. And therefore, those countries are more likely to rank the song within the normal range of variance we'd see with any other entry. But yeah, so that's my take on what happened with the jury score. If you want more thoughts on this, I put a video out yesterday and you can go and watch that. Let's move on to, I think we saw something here. We saw that something good could be coming for Romania. Again, absolutely incredible return. Everything came together. They got the right song and put together a stage performance that really worked. What did you think of Alexandra Capitanescu? Got him.
To me, Bulgaria and Romania were by far the best performances watching the grand final. So in my head, it's a no-brainer that Bulgaria is first and Romania is third or second, whatever you want to call it. But that they're both in that top three. And I think I'm just getting like whiplash from last year when I made that video about the withdrawal crisis and how Eastern Europe is basically getting overshadowed. And we can see that there is place for Eastern Europe. And when there are efforts made for those countries to be brought back to the contest and for them to get exposure and have a platform to show what they have in store, it works because I don't think Bulgaria and Romania had a very big budget, and both of these results are purely because of these two artists. Well, Alexandra Capitinescu is a band, but these two, you know, delegations really trying to make it work because they saw the potential in both of these songs. The difference is I've always liked this song. With Bangarang, because it's more of my niche, this is way more rocky, screamy, angsty. Bangaranga, it's trashy, and I like that song. People like to put words into my mouth. I liked Bangaranga just because it's the music. I know music like that. I was born and raised in Bulgaria. That sound is not unique to me. And I do like a banger, contrary to what people think. I'm not miserable all the time. It's just I was more frustrated with the format of the national final and the way it was handled. Not Dara. And in that live stream, cue back the tapes, I did praise Dara for 10 minutes. So please, people, get alive. Leave me alone. But back to Romania. If this one, I wouldn't have been angry at all. I really, really like this. These two were my top within my top like 3, 4 of the night. Just a stellar result. I am really happy to see people really appreciated what Romania had, and I really hope that they continue to like they use this as a very good basis to continue to move up, up, up in terms of quality in their packages.
It's, you know, I
Really
think
good package.
yes, it was a very good package, and we're fans of good packages here on the ESC Gabe channel. And God, I was
We
frozen.
are.
Oh, there you are. You're back. And no, I mean this is the thing. What I really wanted to highlight, by the way, is as well as what we know is that in addition to sort of earning a lot of these points from a wide variety of people, wide variety of backgrounds. But we do know that also Romanian, Moldovan diasporas this year were so excited about their entries. But I just want to point out that between the two of them, and you can't just add them straight together, to be clear, that's not how it works. Between the two of them, Moldova and Romania scored 415 points. Imagine if the combined forces of the Romanian Moldovan diaspora had been behind either one or the other of those. They could have scored 300 from the public, either one of them.
Oh,
Like
yeah,
that
easily.
was so things could have been even more. I'm just going to quickly go through the super chats, and then I have a couple more. I have a bit more commentary actually on this, and some social commentary and some stuff on the way people are talking about some of these results. I'm going to go to. I'm going to find my place. Gabe Sotero says, I have a 64-year-old friend, non-Eurovision fan, that doesn't usually like pop and girl pops, but ranked Bulgaria 1, Romania 2, and nothing else. Wow, there we go. Kotzi Bond says, coming by to say I'm a proud Bulgarian, one of the few likes the song for what it is, doesn't have a reputation, great reputation in Bulgaria. I think it has a better reputation now than it did last week. Marina Sati and Dara as the interval act next year. I would love that. Melamanka says, don't get the high score for Australia. Stage was impressive. Music was unoriginal, especially the chorus. We'll come to that in just one moment. Eric Emma says, gotta go, but here's a quick thank you for reporting Eurovision. Thank you so much for being here. Does Gotham wear wigs? Says the Now player. It's real.
I don't think it does. It is real. You've seen it.
Olga, I think I answered your question about the jury scores, but thank you so much. Listen to Bella by Aiden, says Baby Puppy with paid partnership. Just as a reminder, I was not paid to make the video with the Maltese delegation. There was some bizarre speculation about that, but it's important. Andrew says he's asking what kind of makeup you have today, and also Leleka got robbed by the jury. I feel like it's inspired. Is it inspired by Lelek or?
No.
Okay.
No. Today is the day of the Cyrillic script and Slavic culture. So, rapping. What a great day for this live stream to be held on.
Prezemek says Israel sent the strongest song, so jury score makes sense. Televoting score feels slightly more legit because it's lower than the last 2 years. It's still inflated. I think the thing is with the jury score for Israel is it was at the top of the range where a song like that could plausibly be in a vacuum where there's no external factors, right? In my opinion. But, that's what it is. Nadia, thank you so much for the 1,000. I don't know. It's 1,000 Argentina currency. Do you know what? But I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Says a media conglomerate in Argentina published a single article about Eurovision for the second consecutive year. Not saying money exchanged hands, but a country that doesn't know the contest until last year, and only mentioning Dara and Noam. I think these are things I wouldn't read too much into these things. There's a limited amount you can sort of gather from some of these factors. The one thing I will say though, because this is actually I want to talk about, because there was some commentary I've seen about the televote result, which was saying, oh look, the top 4 is the 3 countries that conveniently returned on Israel, and basically pointing to some kind of non-existent conspiracy theory about how Israel has rigged it for those countries to finish in the top 4, or that they had rigged it so Bulgaria would win. And I just want to walk through this logically for a second. Imagine your GRU with your board, like in the meme. Be Israel. Make Bulgaria win Eurovision, but you come second. A country that doesn't really care either way about the conflict you're currently engaged in, and therefore won't put up the same kind of objections as the Austrians would if you were booted out. Step 3. I'm yet to find any explanation as to why this makes any sense. And this is before we get to the point that I do think there's a serious issue here about the successful results of, and I could talk about this in each case, of countries with not very much resources using those resources effectively and getting good finishes. I think there's a real deep problem by saying, oh, well, it must be illegitimate if countries in that part of the world are doing that. Moldova had sponsorships for the national selection. We've been through this before. They were the National Bank and the Arena, both sponsored the selection. Other than that, government budget didn't change. Satoshi had some label backing, and then there was some money that came in after the fact when they realized that it might be quite good. Romania and Bulgaria's national finals were sponsored by Moroccan oil, and that caused some consternation. I think we should bear in mind that they're still just a mid-level hair care brand. They're not like some giant mega corporation. I still don't think they should be the sponsor of Eurovision, but that's a separate matter. And, we know that the EBU did a deal for Romania and Bulgaria to keep the costs down for them returning. It wouldn't surprise me if that also was involved. By the way, we'll help you get some sponsorship on board with the partners of the contest. The thing is with these conspiracy theories, when it comes to this stuff, the simplest and most straightforward explanation is usually the correct one. You've got to stop, you've got to remember, for some of these grand conspiracy theories, how many hands would that plan have to pass through for it to be successfully executed? Do you really think it wouldn't have come out? It completely misunderstands the way in which manipulation of the voting system actually happens in Eurovision. Because it doesn't happen by, through all of this mad, kind of 4D chess. The system is way too much of a blunt instrument for that. This is something that happens through grassroots advocacy organizations in individual countries and so on. That's why there's a very clear pattern, because where those structures exist, they can be used repeatedly year on year on year. Hence, you get 12s from all the same places and so on. My point is, I find it a little patronizing. And Goddam, as someone who's from Eastern Europe and has spent your entire life, whenever Eastern Europe does something well, it's, must be corrupt / cheating in some way. How does it feel to see that kind of thing?
To be fair, I haven't paid much attention to these conspiracy theories because I haven't seen a whole lot of people going on about them. That might just be me. I don't know. It's funny because Morocco didn't even sponsor Bulgaria's national final. We only came back because Profon, which is not related to Israel whatsoever. It's
the recording industry body in the
recording industry chart, something like that. I have no clue. But they basically asked BNT whether they can like finance it and really be involved and be the ones in charge of the selection of the artists. Uh, Other than that, Moldova always had a national final. We
Hmm.
were there. We saw who the sponsors were.
And
To be
we
fair,
all
I
knew
don't
they were
know.
coming back, by the way, as well. Everyone knew they
Yeah,
were
yeah,
coming
yeah.
back.
It was obvious that Moldova wasn't gonna be struggling in terms of making a national final happen. So I don't know. It does feel patronizing a little bit, but to me, it's just like those tweakers you have in the city that you kind of want to avoid because they always ramble about like the pigeons or something, just going like this, and you'd have to cross the road to not bump into them and hear to that monologue for 10 minutes. It feels like that. Obviously people are thinking it's going to be it's rigged. I don't think there is a single person out there who wants to rig things in favor of Bulgaria. Not even the Bulgarians want to do that. So it's just stupid in my opinion.
Yeah.
I'm not particularly hurt
Yeah.
whatsoever.
And I just want to people to sort of essentially eyes on the prize, right? Stay focused. There is no point wasting energy on baseless conspiracy theories when we can instead be focusing on that energy on the very real manipulation that we know about and that we can demonstrate and have been demonstrating for some time now. Like, that is just these things are right there in front of our eyes. We don't need to go digging for madcap sort of theories in order to find these things. And this is my point: is that if these other things existed, they would, they would be equally demonstrable in the way we have managed to demonstrate everything else, right? So just stay focused in general with these things. It's, like I said, the simplest and most innocuous explanations are usually the correct ones with these kinds of things. And like, quite frankly, we saw it in the betting odds and everything else that Bulgaria and Romania spent all of the last 2 weeks shooting up. Moldova won the audience poll in the semi-final. Do you think that was rigged as well? Israel is not rigging the audience poll in the semi-final for Moldova. Anyway, you get my point, right? In any case, it's an exceptional result for Romania. I guess Alexandra Capitanescu will now be taking a tour in Luxembourg, where she scored 22 points, having not got above 15 from any other country.
She's doing one in the UK now, so
Yeah, in London, actually. Maybe I should go. That might be quite fun.
Then a video idea.
Maybe. So we'll go on to Australia. This is the first of what was considered to be a conventional wisdom pick for a winner. Gotham, in your opinion, a very simple question: why didn't this win Eurovision?
Because it's incredibly dated. It's incredible. The staging was tacky. It was nothing revolutionary. The song was just not good, you guys. No, but you cannot hear a song like that on any radio station anymore because it stayed in 2016. This type of song. I get that it works for her voice, but nobody cared about the song. The people that voted for her and her vocal capabilities and her talent and her having charisma and stage presence and commanding that tiny ass poorly constructed stage. Other than that, it was not about the song, and that's why it didn't win the juries. Because if the song was better, it could have won the juries. But it's incredibly uninspiring, and I never saw the potential. I think fourth is a little bit too high in my opinion.
I think, and very quickly, someone said, "Oh, but the juries from those 3 countries all gave points to Israel. Look how many juries gave points to Israel. Literally, like 70% of the juries gave points to Israel." Okay, stop with this ridiculous conspiratorial thinking. I think that this was a song. I described it before the contest as essentially a blank canvas. And that meant that every one of these points, all 287 of them, Delta Goodrum earned herself on the night on that stage. Because this was all about her and her performance. Did she look and sound like a pop star? Yes. But she was like, it was like being in an F1. It's like putting a world-class F1 driver in a go-kart.
Exactly. And this is a song contest at the end of the day. Like, that's the most important element.
And it's just so, like, For an artist who I think had been wanted in the contest for as long as Delta Goodrem, I'm really glad that when we got her, she gave an incredible performance. I just wish that she'd been given a song that could go and win. A few
Yeah.
people are saying, "Oh, she didn't need the Beyonce like lift and everything in the performance as well." I actually didn't mind that, but again, it just you needed a song which had a bit more punch to it in order to hang that on, because then you could go into the kind of look. It's a bit over the top. It's a bit camp, but well, it's a great song, right? She can get away with it. But yeah, if you'd given this song to a like ordinary singer, like someone who's good but not great, it would have come 23rd. So she really, really did push it up far beyond
Hmm.
its like means as by itself. But I will say I think it's probably a good thing this didn't win Eurovision, because it would have been a step backwards. And there's only so much you can do.
Oh, but she probably could have won the Eurovision if the criteria didn't change for the juries. Like if the Gen Z, whatever, 18 to 25-year-old, how many jurors in every country requirement didn't come, plus the criteria didn't change, which I was screaming about for ages, by the way,
Mm-hmm.
that the criteria should change and the authenticity should be the most important requirement. This would have won the juries. Last year, if this was in Eurovision last year, it could have fought JJ for the jury victory.
I do
So,
think it would be really interesting if they had like specified which jurors were under 25, like in the still
mhm.
anonymizing the juries, but saying, "Oh, this was an under 25 juror," because I would love to see how different
Yeah.
the rankings were for under 25s compared to the juries
To be fair, if you
large.
if you sit down and like look into it, I think it's not completely
You
impossible
can
to
probably work it
guess
out,
who it
can't you?
is.
Yeah. Just anyone who ranked Bangaranga won immediately. But no.
Yeah. Mm.
There's more super chats I'm going to quickly rush through. Bookboo says, the year of shit, national finals producing great results. Yep, and it's very fun. Greta says, random question, Gabe. How and why are you in the entirely Lithuanian gossip Discord server Pletki? I needed a place to hide from Nora Blue. Europunzel says, will jury ever stop ruining rock songs' winning chances? I mean, Zitia Buoni would be my answer to that. I think that Choke Me had some jury appeal, but I think it was limited because having spoken to a bunch of people in the time since, I do think that the misconstruing of the message may have had an impact. Jurors can get quite conservative about these things, and it's the kind of thing that we've seen before, so it wouldn't surprise me if that had an impact. Rosie Burns says, should all countries be in the semi-finals? The big five getting to go straight to the final, and in return spending far more money on the contest than everyone else and making it more affordable for everyone else is in my opinion a perfectly good trade-off. And I think I don't have any problem with it at all. Then again, I'm from a big five country, so I would say that. Nero says, no part of Eclipse required Beyonce's lift. Yep, indeed. Yes, indeed. But there we go. We'll go to the fifth place song. Now, I have to say, people did kind of call this. There was a sense that Sal Da Vinci could go a really long way and that it was just a bit fun and a bit silly, but it was well executed. It made you feel warm and fuzzy inside. And you know what, Gotham? I had a nice time. I had a nice time watching this. Did it break your cold black heart?
It did. I also had fun.
Hey!
I mean, like we have this singer in Bulgaria. His name is Vasily Marinov, and he has been singing these Schlager songs about love and yellow dresses, and it's so like the year is 72, still communism, and you are going to the seaside, and you would hear that blasting off from like a random bus. This is what it reminded me of. That exact singer, and I'm like, this is just feels familiar, and it's just slice of pop. I it's all right. Like I had fun. Did it deserve fifth place above Ukraine, Moldova, Albania, Croatia, yada yada? Probably not, but the results were all over the place anyways. Might as well, put Uncle into
Yeah.
the top 5.
This was very much, it was a sort of a Dua Vita result. Very, very similar, I think, both in the split and the score. Italy can essentially do no wrong. And I want to actually quickly point this out because if we look at Italy's record more generally, they are currently what is surely indisputably the best hot streak in Eurovision. Like the fact that they are incapable, like the last time they finished outside of the top 7 was in 2016. Like it is,
And that's
it's
entirely
truly
because of the
extraordinary.
selection method.
Yeah,
Entirely because of Sanremo. Because all of these songs and entries don't have anything in common between each other than the fact that they're Italian and sung in Italian. And it's good that Italy keeps doing what they want to do and they don't really care about what the outcome is going to be in Eurovision just because Sanremo is more important.
yeah,
Because authenticity right there, everything is so in its own niche and entirely unique in the contest it took part. Well, okay, maybe Do a bit. Maybe Do a bit and Brividi not so much, but the others like they just stand out because it's Italian first of all, and second, it doesn't feel like anything else in the lineup because there was nothing like um Per Sempre Si in the lineup this year.
for sure, for sure.
Yeah.
I
Plus the guy is also very memeable, so that
Yeah,
makes it
I think
even
it was
more
nice as
endearing.
well. You get a lot of Italian Eurovision entries where it kind of feels like they're there at the contest and not there the rest of the time. Sal Da Vinci threw himself into the Eurovision community.
Oh
He
yeah. Yeah.
made it his mission to enjoy every single minute of this. He was at the pre-parties, he showed up in the press center, like honestly, and you could see on stage after he performed how emotional he got. It clearly meant a lot to him that he was on this stage, and that hasn't always been the case with Italy. So that was really, really lovely to see that this was a thing that he actually really actively wanted to do.
Yeah.
I have a question. How high would Che Fastidio by Ditanella Piaga have gotten?
Yes, I was thinking about that. I can say 5th again. To be fair, if they picked the Torneo Piaga this year, it would still have stood out in the lineup because we didn't have a lot of electronic because it's not EDM. It would have stood out as well, and I think 5th, 4th maybe would have been the ceiling. I don't, maybe not top 3, but it. What I'm thinking about right now is whether if Kefa Studio took part, whether she would have taken some of the points from Bulgaria.
I do wonder, but the thing is that I feel confident that basically it doesn't matter what you do with any of the other national finals, doesn't matter what you shuffle around. This winning margin to me says that nothing and no one could have stopped this. Like,
Yeah,
I
historic.
don't think there's anything anyone could have done. Like, I can't think of a single entry from a single national final that would have had more potential than this.
Me neither, to be fair. I don't think a lot would have changed from Sanremo.
Except, obviously, the iconic and glorious Pink Margarita by Catalina Solomak, which would have won Eurovision with a record number of points. Other than that, no. You're not a fan?
I don't know. No. We were in Moldova together. What do you mean, are you not a fan? You know my opinion on
Okay,
Pink
but
Margarita.
It was really fun in the... You know what? That's besides the point. We're not going to argue about Pink Margarita now. Instead, we're going to talk about this.
And that was the big shocker.
I mean...
No.
If,
No, actually.
Let me just go back to the last year, 2025, where we had the song that the Nordics loved, but no one else got anywhere near as much. Nordics loved it. No one else got it as much.
Oh, yeah.
It bizarrely shares a fate with Barabada Bastu, pre-show favourite, ran the table with its immediate neighbours, and then didn't manage to do that anywhere else. What happened here?
Too formulaic, too calculated, and we've talked about this before. You have talked about this before a lot. You have to be someone's favorite. You cannot be just in the middle of the pack in everybody's opinion, because from the people I got opinion, well, I asked a lot of people about, like, a lot of my circle followed and watched the contest because the Bulgarians were eager to see what Dara was gonna do, just because of the hype. So from what I got across all age groups and preferences, whatever, everybody enjoyed this. Not a lot of people dug it a lot to, absolutely root for it. It just didn't stand out enough. It was polished. We all liked it. We all enjoyed it. It just didn't get a lot of people too excited to vote for it. And you can see it because in the Nordics it clearly worked, but elsewhere, people probably just thought it was the violin was really cool. The song sounds alright. They have good voices. Good. That was a good one. On to the next one.
I mean, this is the thing is that, I mean, the public and the jury basically completely agreed with their assessment of this song overall. Um, it didn't, I keep saying this, it didn't pass the smell test as a favorite. And I think it's sort of this, like, if it looked like a duck and it walked like a duck and it quacked like a duck, but it was not a duck, is my conclusion essentially. Like, just be like, we looked at the fan polls and everything else, and I think we sort of said, well, logically speaking, when we see these things, this is what happens. But it's like I said, it was very dark. It was just like UMK, almost to the T. And what that meant is that in my opinion, while you had this great concept, I didn't feel, you don't feel involved in it. I think you feel like a bit of a third party. And I mean, they deliberately held the fourth wall break back a little bit. But in retrospect, I think it would have been better to not do that and to engage the camera much earlier with Peta and things like this. I know that it's going to be tough for Finns who have now gone through this twice. With Karia and with Linda and Peta, where people really, really thought that they might do it, and then they fell short. But I think this one will hurt less because, firstly, you didn't have the peculiar dynamics of 2023, and secondly, I honestly think it's easier to come sixth than second. And and it wasn't far from third. Interestingly, if you remove Israel from the standings, Finland jumps Romania and Australia and comes third overall.
No, that's shocking. I don't know. This song was just a litmus test to see whether we are too involved and stuck up about, our community and what we think in the bubble. And the point was proven. We need to stop over analyzing what is winning in polls before the rehearsals and the odds and all of that, and you are at fault. You.
Me?
You are at fault. Yes, you and your obsession with Finland. Because to me, and I obviously,
pain is never ending.
Yeah, I never saw this as a winner, and I really liked it. Obviously, it's a very good song, but I didn't feel like this was gonna win from the second I saw it at the UMK. I don't know what you guys were raving on about. It's very good, it's very polished, but it just didn't feel like a winner. And obviously, I'm right because it was in sixth.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it didn't. I mean, this is the thing is, I really tried not to get carried away about this. But when you're constantly, I spent the whole season looking at this being like, they're even more overwhelming favorites now than they were last week. And and this poll just came out which showed them winning with a bajillion %, all of these things. And I was trying to be like calm. Even in the week, I was like, I'm not going to say it. In the week, I said, I just hope they give a great performance. I don't want to talk about the result. I don't want to jinx it. But yeah, it was just, it was a total miss from everybody, as the win was actually. No, because people missed Bulgaria until the week either. And I think it really will. There'll be a big reevaluation amongst bookies and stuff on how we look at this in future. And I think it changes the way that we will cover and the way I will think about entries. Because I'm going to come into the next year and think, okay, I have had a very prominent example now where we have seen an artist show up and deliver something which has completely elevated a song. I think we need to pay more attention to things like, I think we should spend more time watching like artists' live back catalogs, things like choreographed performances, what they've done in the past, things that do and don't work for them live in general. I think there's a bit of a deeper analysis that is going to have to be done about some of these things in order to kind of correct for this a little bit. Uzbek Spy says, Euro jury got pretty much everything completely wrong this year. Yeah. I said that would happen. They didn't find a single juror for Sweden. Like, come on. But there we go. I'm going to quickly catch up with the super chats again because I've fallen behind. Italian jury score makes no sense for me, knowing how juries voted in the past. It wasn't far from winning when you look at the points. I think the jury score was reasonable. It just looks a lot closer to the top because the top was so low for the jury this year. Adam Martin says, just joined the stream. Forgive me if you said it, but not seeing much talk about how well Israel did with the juries. Was very shocked. Yes, we did talk about that briefly before. And my basic take was there's a few different factors to do with. So the countries that left this issue had very high salience. The countries that joined this issue had very low salience, among other things. There's a whole variety of reasons why the Israeli jury score would be inflated. And obviously, 10% of their jury points came from Poland, which didn't help either. But I know the Poles are very embarrassed about that, so we won't dwell on it. Seeing Sal choking up, says Nero, because he was largely just a regional hit before and the foreign audience cheering loudly made me want to hug him so bad. Same. Random El Duderino says Antti-Paalanen would have won. Antti-Paalanen would have scored about 200 points. 170 of them would have come from the public, in a best case. Prezemek says, funny how Bulgaria feels like a fan favourite, Finland like winner, but it was exactly the other way around. That is actually a good point. So, in some ways, we should have just listened to the more delusional people, the people who were even more delusional than us. They were right. Bookboo says, seeing us sixth fucking hurts, thought we had it, but it was amazing. And think about how good UMK was and is, and how you're going to have that amazing show to go to every year, guaranteed, in your own country. So, do not despair. A Finland win will come. I wonder if people, says Stephen, are sick of Sweden, and that's rubbing off on the other Nordics, especially when they said Sweden-esque high-quality pop songs. And this is the thing, is that leave that to Sweden, right? Do things differently. I do feel that Finland does do stuff differently. Would Liekenheten have won Melodifestivalen? Yes, obviously. I think it definitely would have won Melodifestivalen, but it didn't feel like a Swedish entry to me. Liekenheten is goodbye to yesterday, says Dr. Ross, and that's a little mean. Goodbye to poor Elina Bourne. I'd love to see her come back to Eurovision, by the way. Hot take. Finland was not in my personal top 10, but it was a fact that a lot of friends I know did not resonate with it, says M is not here. Yeah, this is the thing, is people saw it and they're impressed by it, but it wasn't their favourite. We're going to go on to the next one, which is Denmark. And I have to say, I don't know what Denmark did to anger maybe the delegation spilled a drink on the people who did the running order like an hour before they did it or something. Because putting this first was mean and brutal, when pretty much cut off most of their ability to win. But with that said, from first in the running order, seventh is a very creditable performance. Godam, how did you feel about this? Because for me, I kind of preferred it at the national final.
The energy of the performance, I preferred the national final, definitely. The execution, I preferred it on the Vienna stage. Something felt like it was missing, and that was the case for both the performance in the second semifinal and in the final. It didn't feel as raw as in Dansk MGP. Nonetheless, I think it looked incredible. I think seventh is a very good result. Sounds right to me, to be fair. I know people are upset about this being low and the fact that it should have been in the top 5. Maybe you have a point, but this looks reasonable to me. Like seventh sounds about right. But yeah, I really like the performance. I really like the song as well. The high note in the final, I don't know so much about that, but I don't know why they didn't put them in first. That's weird and confusing, but I guess they didn't have anybody else.
I think limited
put.
options.
Maybe Norway could have opened, but I don't remember what they drew after the second semi.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, like they still really solid score. The Danes in chat seem very
Mm-hmm.
pleased with this, and this was. I will say that it was the momentum was already fading for this before this happened. Like even in the semis, people were saying, "Well, it's good, but it's not quite." We were hoping for a step up, and we kind of stayed where we were. And this is the problem: is lots of people arrived and stayed where they were, and it was Bulgaria that made that step up. Name reveal says Søren shot himself in the foot with that photo. I don't think anybody remembered the photo.
No.
I actually think we went the whole week without anyone mentioning the photo. But there we go.
Stop overthinking.
Yeah, that's
not everybody's on Twitter.
No, only that these things do not have wider effect in general. 8th place, our beloved, and if the public vote was fair and not manipulated, 3rd with the public. What an extraordinary triumph for our conquering hero Satoshi. You know, Gotham, I'm really curious to know what your reaction was when you first saw this in the semi-final.
This was my winner. Well, this was my winner ever since the rehearsal started. And it has stayed the same. And it was my winner before and after semi-1, before and after the grand final. This is the best song ever. This is the best Moldovan song ever. And I love Moldova. And I think 8th is too low. To be fair, I did kind of say that I can see Moldova winning the televote. That wasn't the case, but I wasn't that far off. 3rd in the televote is an incredible result. I don't know how the Moldovans managed to beat the Albanians in the Italian diaspora contest in the televote. That's
the
incredible.
thing is that they also managed to do. It's like Moldova did something incredible. The power of the Moldovan diaspora is and the Romanian diaspora, because they got 12 and 10 from Italy, is more powerful than the Israeli SIM card machine. Like, it's really something.
Best country on earth. I love Moldova so much. This is my winner, and I'm very pleased with the result. I would have wanted a little bit more, but 8 is still incredible. I think it's their second best result.
The performance.
2013.
The performance was everything I could have wanted from this. Really, everything I could have wanted from this. I thought that the energy was perfect. The way in which not just Satoshi, but Lara and Aliona with him sort of commanded the stage and balanced each other so well. The Aliona giant dress was just a beautiful moment.
Flabbergasted. Yeah.
Just such an incredible callback. And I think it was really gorgeous that they put all these little details in and so on, you know, and it was perfect. And then, of course, we had, and it got to the end. I'm not ashamed to admit, I was sat in the press center. I was so overwhelmed by, you know, the emotional loading of this because of everything, because we've experienced this journey, you know, and been there right at the start and everything, that I was in floods of tears in the press center, just of like pride and joy and emotion.
Same.
And oh gosh,
I cried as well. I'm not ashamed to admit
you
it.
you could not make this any better, in my opinion. They maximized
Absolutely.
its potential.
Yeah, and I don't know a single person that watched the contest this year that didn't like this. My friends rooted for this. This was everybody's favorite. Everybody's favorite. This was my mom. My mom is almost 60 years old. She called me after semi-1 just shouting Viva Moldova. Didn't hear the song before that day. My grandma, who is 80, this was also her favorite song. Everybody loves this. And I think it's just so incredible that the message of the song, the message about unity and resilience and, you know, paving your own future managed to translate. And it almost turned into an anthem. And everybody felt Moldovan for 3 minutes.
Yeah.
At least I did.
I've never been
it's
prouder
just
to be
incredible.
from the brave and dignified Republic of Moldova.
Absolutely. And next year in Chisinau again.
Yes, exactly. It was
I'm so excited. I want to go back so bad.
I really, really want to go back. Honestly, I didn't know what to expect before we went. And then I remember me and Jay were talking about this earlier in the season. After the national finals we've gone, and we both agreed that Moldova was easily our favourite trip.
Yeah. It's also my favorite trip I've ever done.
We did have that slightly bizarre... so on the night after the final, after the national final, to toast the victory, we went to, it was like a Ukrainian cherry
Piano
liqueur
Vishnu. Yeah,
um,
yeah, yeah.
place. And so we're stood there in a Ukrainian place with Ukrainian signage, Ukrainian name, sipping Ukrainian cherry liqueur, and then Tattoo um, comes on the speakers, and we're all standing there looking at each other like, huh? It was really funny, Connor, because you were there, and there was also our colleague
Yeah, it was the-
from that Eurovision site, Tatiana, who was there. Tatiana, and obviously the only two Ukrainians in the room immediately like stared at each other in Ukrainian when that song came on.
Absolutely. That whole night was something else. Is I just miss Moldova so much,
Yeah,
and
we'll
I'm
be
very
back.
happy.
We'll be back. We'll
Yeah.
be back. I can't wait. Speaking of Ukraine, another top five with the public and a decent haul from the jury, though nowhere near as much. I thought 54 was exceptionally harsh, actually, and I really thought that this would be I thought this would end up in the Sal Da Vinci position, which it would have done if its jury score had matched its public score. Overall, though, the best performance was the live final one. She got better and better as the week went on. And I saw some really funny like reels on Instagram of like Ukrainians when that 31 seconds is going on, and it's just videos of them being like,
I was exactly the same. Just gripping the table, being like, God, please make her do it successfully. Because during the second semifinal, she did crack a little. She did sound a little bit shaky and unstable. But in the final, this was just so impeccable. I cried. To be fair, even when it was shaking, I still cried. This is just such an incredibly special entry. I am not shocked at the result. I think 54 from the jury is complete another bullshit.
yeah,
Alongside Australia, I think Ukraine was the country that got punished by the fact that the criteria changed and that the vocal is not the top criterion anymore. Because if it were, I think the jury score would have been higher. I'm completely in love with the song. I'm completely in love with her as well. I'm beyond proud of this entry and the fact that it stayed in the top 10. Uh, it was just so special. I'm not that shocked that it didn't get a lot of praise in terms of result, even though ninth is still perfectly fine. Um, but yeah, I'm not surprised at all about this result. I kind of foreshadowed it being like 8-7
and I think this is
in
the
that
thing
match.
is that the Ukrainian, I would say, like the Ukrainian public vote seems to have a base somewhere in the low hundreds, like, and then kind of goes from there. So it was always going to do pretty well. I didn't expect it really outside of the top 10. It was more about, okay, how far can it go? I do feel sad that it feels, I don't know. Juries seem to find a way to put Ukraine at the lower end of what is plausible with the jury every single year at the minute, and I don't love that. I have no proof, but just vibes, you know. Like, I mean, if you look
Yeah.
at this with the jury, there we go. Look
I
where
mean,
it
come
is,
on. Yeah,
off in the
that's just.
distance, over the hills and far away. It's
I'm not
just
surprised. I'm just a little bit disappointed, but I don't know what the issue was. Like, I don't know what the jurors were mad about. I
I
thought the
think
performance was stellar. She as well. She commanded the stage. She moved a hell of a lot more than she did in Vidbeer, and the song is good. I don't know what they didn't see in this. Like, I have
I
no
guess
clue.
if you were going to criticize and say, okay, maybe it was a little bit Disney or something, right? But, you know, again, it's a shame. It deserved more points. We're going to go to the next song in a moment, which is Greece.
Yeah.
But first, I'm going to quickly go through the super chats. Andy Hartley says, I feel like writing an article in Vision about how everyone reading is too old for the contest now, but it probably wouldn't go down well. Vision, for context, is the OGE UK magazine. Tell them, Andy.
Uh-huh.
Tell us. I'm a member of OGE. Tell us. We need to hear it. We need to hear it. Przemek says Moldova should be higher. Juries hated this for no reason. Everything about this was so good. Yeah, I mean, I would have liked to see more jury for Moldova as well, but I was under no illusions about that. Songs in languages other than English just don't tend to win, says Dr. Jacoby, with a few exceptions, and bookies overrate their winning chances. Yeah, I mean, it's difficult to compare over different genres because there's so many different moving factors. But maybe you are onto something. Rubik's Spill says Viva Moldova is kind of like a Europapa. I love that. I did hear it described as the Europapa of the East, but I'm not sure how much I agree with that. They both have the European unity thing, but they're very different. And they like Europapa is like a personal diary, really, whereas I think Viva Moldova is something else. I kind of like Viva Moldova is kind of a. He literally wrote a manifesto when he released that song, and posted a manifesto on Instagram, and it was so political he had to delete it. Like,
yeah, it's anthemic. It sounds anthemic. At least to Eastern Europeans, it does.
Indeed. All right. So the song that came 10th, the song that
This is the biggest shocker.
the song that had the momentum. Let's remind ourselves what happened in the odds. So, Greece. We arrived at the contest and this happened. 11th and 12th of May, clear second favourite. It jolted up. And then it didn't survive contact with the public. And this, I have to say, is below even the lowest estimate I would have given this.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, where do we even start? Like, especially if you consider the fact 24 from Cyprus, right? Which means the 220 flatters it a little bit. Where do you... I mean, do you have an explanation for this?
I think this is just another Euro fan circle moment because I like the song. It's not one of my favorites. I liked it more back in like February, March. I didn't like it that much by the time the contest came, but I didn't see a path to victory for this, but I didn't anticipate 10th at all. But I started feeling like this is gonna tank a lot when I watched it with other people and I started snooping around asking like casual viewers what they thought of the songs, and none of them liked Greece. None of them liked Greece. It was too much. It was too overpowering. He was jumping and he was being a tiger, and then it was Minecraft, and then we enter a tunnel and it splits, and then there is a scooter and random fruit rolling around, and then he jumps and there is a grandma and a statue and a golden person, and then it's sincere and there is this mother thing, and then he jumps and too much. Like
Fokas
too
Evangelinos, why would you do this?
And I saw people being like, why didn't they keep this simple? You know, when the video, no, it was not a music video, but
the one
him
where he was just
with
stood
that
in the room,
orange
yeah.
background. Yeah, he felt like his stage presence and his enthusiasm and just overall charisma didn't manage to get through the complexity of the staging. You know, there was so much happening that you didn't focus on the song, you didn't focus on him, you focused on the backdrop of it all.
Yeah.
You know, in which room are we gonna go next? And clearly not a winning strategy because it was a tragedy because 10th, after being in second place with the odds with 20 something percent, and you dropping to 3% winning chance in like 4 days is really bad.
Yeah. Greece has a Fokas Evangelinos problem, says Kara. ERT should give a chance to younger directors. The Greek diaspora needs nationalistic songs to get involved. Shout out, Claudia. Thank you so much for the super chat. Yeah, I mean, it was so visually noisy.
Yeah.
And I think I really like sort of things that are very maximalist and over the top. So for me, I was enjoying
which you will never know based on your sense of clothing, but
well, yeah. I dress as default, like the default character that appears when you load up The Sims for the first time is my sense of style. It used to be worse, but that's all right. Default me, says Stephen. Exactly. It just didn't. I look at it. I'm like, okay, I know I like this. Most people are not going to know where to look. Too much will happen too fast, and it's a real shame because this is the most excited I can remember seeing Greek fans in the entire modern era of the contest. and
Yeah,
they were so into this, so into this.
but it's also again the whole thing of us in the community, what we think, and us not being able to put our two brains together and think that 90% of the viewers are not gonna be involved with the preseason whatsoever.
Yep.
Like we just keep being stuck up about what we think in the community, and clearly it doesn't translate because again, I don't know anybody who really liked this. And like the overall opinion I got was it was too messy, too chaotic, too kitsch,
Kitsch,
and
yeah.
also kitsch and also juvenile. I also heard juvenile a lot. Too much, too much.
Yeah.
If they maybe lowered it, toned down the staging a little bit, so he had more time to connect with the audience and the camera and everything, it we could have seen a better result. But to be fair, as an overall package, I prefer Steromata over Fertu.
I mean, and Europe did too, as it turned out, because if
Yeah.
we look at that result, 147 and 73, and we go to Greece's past results, I mean, look at that firstly, that finished higher on the scoreboard with Die Together. This came the same place as Last Dance by Stefania,
Hmm.
which is my
Which
favorite.
is the worst
This
song
is
ever.
my favorite Greek entry of all time. Everyone else disagrees with me. Yeah, I know it's my worst opinion. Please, let's not talk about it. I love it so much.
Oh my
It's
god.
so bad.
That's Gabe. That's disgusting. And the fact that you felt the need to share it with everybody else is even worse.
Oh god. But Astor Amata did great. It was, and let me get my little scoreboard here. There we go. Did very similarly with the public, actually. Wow, there's a lot of really mad people in chat now. I shouldn't have said that. Someone did point out, we'll go into the semis in more detail, is that Greece only came 7th in the semi as well. And it got beaten in the semi, in the public, by Croatia, by Finland, Serbia, Moldova, Poland, and, well, not talk about Israel. But, you know, it didn't connect in the way we expected. I'm very sorry. Yeah. I'm very sorry. Everyone is really, really mad about that. That might be my stinkiest opinion. I just love Last Dance. It's so dumb.
We don't have to elaborate on this anymore. I don't know why you keep digging your own grave right now.
Let's move on to.
Wait, I'm curious. I have a question for you. Do you think this low result for Greece this year will put an end to? I don't want to say manslop, but you know
that specific set of, I know what you mean in terms of the kind of tub thumping, male-led banger kind of thing.
Yeah. The silly man songs.
I think that is an era that is now complete. Because realistically, you're not going to find anything that reaches the level of cultural relevance and capital and appeal that Cha Cha Cha, Europapa, Espresso Macchiato had. Those three had legitimate cultural appeal, including outside of the contest. Ferto doesn't, and there aren't really any others. I think we're moving on from this now. That era has come and gone.
Mashallah, finally.
You're very excited about this. People are saying Baby Lasagna. Baby Lasagna, that was a rock song. It was not in the same mold.
Oh, yeah.
Don't put Baby Lasagna in with these. That's a different thing. That is a rock song about migration. You know, like, compare that to the subject matter of Espresso Macchiato. Come on. But that's just my opinion. I thought I heard something in the background. Anyway, we're going to go on to 11th place. This was another, was it a big shock? I don't think so. What was your take on France?
Hooting and hollering for 3 minutes.
I see.
I don't know, you got. I didn't like. To be fair, I didn't mind this pre-contest. Seeing it on stage, I was like, like I cannot keep doing this. Like this felt again so rehearsed, so manufactured. She's I don't know, this little girl, whatever, but she didn't have a lot of charisma. The song just came across as annoying. I was just irritated and inconvenienced by the song for 3 minutes.
Inconvenienced. Wow. I mean, I think the thing is, right, is that the only moments of this I liked was where it felt like Monroe could share a little bit of personality because but it was so scripted, so railroaded to within an inch of its life. There was no
Yeah.
opportunity for any to escape most of the time. So I feel like if you'd made this a song which was just here, like if you'd given it a bit more space to just let loose, right, and enjoy
Yeah.
herself, it would have done a lot better. But instead, it felt like we keep calling it a technical demonstration.
Yeah. Yeah. It was like, I don't know. There's just nothing came across as good or particularly exciting. This is such a low public result for France.
It's a terrible
I
result for
think they
France
need to.
in the public.
Yeah, I think they need to start doing things outside of the box. I know they got traumatized after 2022 with Fulen, but we cannot keep singing songs that mention Paris within the first 20 seconds of the song. Like, this is what it leads to. France fatigue.
Yeah, that is genuinely France fatigue because if you look at like your voila mon amour kind of maman like
Even Maman, yeah.
and the thing is also they keep making big fumbles somewhere.
Hmm.
This followed exactly the same path as several French songs have done in the past. With Mon Amour, he went too hard the entire week and had a voice crack in the jury show. We
Hmm.
had The Fart last year, total unforced error. And again, the staging this year was an unforced error. It's like
Yeah.
when you are trying as hard as the French are to win, because they're clearly trying to win, very clearly, they want to win.
I don't think they were trying to win with this.
Oh, they were absolutely trying to win with this.
Well, then they are just incompetent, so
Yeah,
I don't know.
they are struggling to
For them.
yeah. It's just
But yeah, they need to change something. The tides in France need to change because next year it won't be 14 points, it will be 4 points.
yeah. Yeah. This is another one where I'm like, okay, surely you will see this and change something now. You don't necessarily
Hmm.
have to bring back the national final, just do something different, right? We don't need
Oh, I
any
like that.
more. But yeah, this is the thing: is it was overstaged. That was its big problem. It still had potential to be in the top 10, in my opinion, but it was overstaged, and they made it look impressive. But also, I think people may well have seen this and been like, "Oh, so it's like a rip off of Berghain by Rosalia,"
Mm,
because that
I don't see
opening,
that.
the opening sounds exactly like Berghain by Rosalia.
You might be right. I haven't listened to Rosalia a lot
Well,
lately, but
the first time I heard it, I immediately went like, "Signer, axe this minor, axe, signer, wood, this minor, wood," in my head. So that's what I
I
think.
don't know. I think this outcome, this result in 11th place completely makes sense.
Yeah. Someone says next year they're going to send a Bangaranga type song called Baguetta Retta.
Could you imagine?
It is the French thing to be like, let's just do what we think will win the contest, because that's what I feel they have been doing for a few years now. In any case, we'll move forward to 12th place, which is a big shock.
Yeah.
Poland receives
Yeah.
12 points from the juries for the first time in the modern era.
Yeah.
I have to say, do I think the song is terrible? Yeah, I've been very open about that. She sung her way to this result and staged her way to this result. They
Yeah,
could not
I
have
agree.
done anything better, right? They got everything perfect for this. What was your
Yeah.
take? Because I feel like you didn't like this
Huge
either, right?
elevation. No, I liked it. I mean, I didn't mind it. It was not one of my favorites, but I really liked the in my era. You know that part. The rap I found a little bit enough. The elevation is incredible. I never trust Poland to stage things correctly, but obviously I was wrong because the Polish did an incredible job in elevating this. It looked so professional, so polished on stage. Her, I don't think anyone else could have sung this song and achieved this result. Just an incredible performer. And also, even though it felt polished, the staging, and it looked like it was rehearsed and really planned, it still felt sincere, which is what was lacking in France and maybe in Greece even. We managed to connect with Alicia for those 3 minutes. I cannot say the same about the past two. In terms of the song, I don't think it was that special to deserve 12th place, but after looking at the performance and everything that happened on stage for those 3 minutes, it makes perfect sense. But I wouldn't have been able to predict this whatsoever.
Yeah. Again,
This is the shock.
though we talk about jury bugbears in the past, all of a sudden, who would have thought Poland scored 150 and like
Yeah.
80% of those points come from the juries? I think if you told the Poles 2 weeks ago that that was the result they were going to get, they would have looked at you like you were crazy. I do want to quickly go through some super chats because again, I'm falling behind. I'm sorry, guys. I'm really trying to keep on top of these. Prezemek said, "Felt it was a good song, but the concept was too much. It was overstimulation, extremely messy." Yep, as we said, we agree very much. Veneri says, "Aquila seemed a little tired, exhausted on stage. Maybe so, maybe so. There was a lot to do." Rubik Spill says, "I feel bad because I really like the staging. I understood it was chaotic, but the song idea about consumerism made sense to have chaotic staging. Probably a bad opinion, but I don't know." I think there's something to that. And I appreciate it as a vision, but I also understand how it didn't quite work properly, didn't quite come across in this scenario. The marble makeup was dope, says Right Audi. Yeah, it was nicely done, I'll say that. 1991 Petrolhead says, "I think it would have been better if she wasn't originally from Utah." I don't think the fact she was from Utah cost her any points. This is Monroe now.
No.
If France sent a song in English, they would win, says Tom and Orange. They would rather come last than do that. Przemek said, "Voila plus wasted love equals regard, but it's not as good." Fair enough. Alicia sold me a product I never wanted less. GG, says Neuro. This is the thing. What a salesman for this song. Like, took a song that everybody trashed and made it really, really good.
Yeah.
So,
What a
yeah,
good
we can all
comeback.
eat shit about this, quite frankly. She has demonstrated to us all that we really should just eat shit. And yeah, Natalia. Anyway, let's move on to a much more balanced result. I can't believe this didn't qualify with the jury, by the way. Like,
Shocker.
well, it's in semi-two.
I don't get
Let
it.
me go get it.
Yes, me too.
Like, what on earth is this? Saved by the public?
know.
Are you kidding me? I mean, it came 7th in the end, so it was very saved by the public. And it was only just out by like a couple of points with the juries. There, see, it was out by 2 points. But like, I'm sorry, what professional jury put that semi-performance of Jala over this?
I don't know what happened. In which place was this with the juries in the grand final?
Let's have a look. It got 60, so we are there. Like, a solid mid-table finish.
Yeah. The final outcome makes sense.
Like
I would
40.
have imagined that the televote would be higher, just because it was, I think, a lot like a very, like it was a message that the diaspora could connect to. You know, It was about migration, leaving your family behind, starting a new life without your loved ones. I thought the diaspora was gonna rally more behind this, but they didn't,
agree.
which was quite surprising. I don't get why they staged the song like that. I like the things with the mother visuals, the mother on stage, all of that. I don't get why they picked white and the wings. I hated the part with the wings. Kitsch as hell. If they kept it in red, I think it would have been better. Dress him up. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe they kept the Festival Ikonga staging, but just added the mother elements. This could have been more accessible, maybe. I don't know.
I would have loved to see something to lean into the memory stuff more, because I really connected with the lines that was like about this, this beautiful chaos, books on the floor, things like this. I would have loved to see like, pages of children's books like in the air around him, and like some kind of like sort of, if you're doing the whole winds of change and ongoing movement of time thing, you could literally have the sort of childhood and the sort of memories of the children running around being blown away as the performance. Things like that I think might have been an interesting concept, right? I didn't hate what they did. The last bit was really emotional with the taking his glasses off. That was a master stroke, and I think they gained a lot of points from that. But I would have loved to see the preceding part be a little more, to our taste.
Yeah.
A man who deserves some flowers because he was horribly sick the entire week and somehow came 14th. Jonas Lov from Norway. I have a personal investment to declare because I know his team quite well now. And one of them has literally sat in this house. This was much better than I expected it would do. For me, it was a welcome surprise, but it just shows that there is a angle for this kind of music at Eurovision. What did you think, Gotham? I can tell you hated it.
I despise this.
Oh.
I like his mustache. Other than that, I don't like a whole lot more. Um, the problem is the song. I think he performed the shit out of the mess that the song was. I think this 14th place is because of him, not because of the song. But I might just be wrong as well. I know people that like this. Maybe it was just not for me. It felt. I don't know. I don't want to talk about this. All right. I think 14 is a little bit too much. Is all I'm
Fine.
gonna say.
I was just happy to see him in the final, given that he'd had severe, like, not just like a cold, he'd had like a severe, like, laryngeal infection.
Oh god. Yeah, props to him.
And
Yeah.
so he could barely speak, let alone sing. That was why he was cutting all of his notes off. And you could tell every performance he did that he was managing his vocal so carefully. And so I thought it was a really professional performance that he managed to do it well enough that I don't think the rest of Europe noticed.
No,
Having seen
I
the
didn't
national
know.
final, noticed. The rest of Europe didn't. I think he would have got a few more points, though, if he'd been fully healthy. But this is an excellent result anyway. I don't think anyone can
No,
complain.
yeah, absolutely.
Next, Croatia. I think its ceiling was higher than this, is what I'm going to say. I think the vocal was always very good, but I saw Zoria do a cover of this, doing all the same harmonies, because didn't she write this song?
She did, yeah.
So just for context of who we're talking about here, let me find the name. I'm talking about here, Zoria Pajic. And she was in the Serbian national selection in 22 and 24, I think it was, or 22 and 25. I can never remember the years. She was part of, in my opinion, like the best top three of any Serbian national final ever, where you had like Muscardicina and her and Constractor in the top three, which was just extraordinary. Yeah. But the thing is, I heard Zoria do it, and then my immediate thought was, wow, this song is so much better when Zoria does it. There was something about it that was always very slightly off.
I agree. If we're talking about the vocal, then I agree.
Yeah.
I think this, to me, this was my third place during the whole week. Before that, it was my winner. So obviously, I deeply resonate with the message. It was an incredible showcase of Croatian and Slavic culture. I'm just a little bit sad. 15th is really, really low. And again, I don't know what went wrong because whoever I asked, everybody liked this. But also, I asked, people who are from that region. But we gave it 4 points. Like, Bulgaria gave this 4 points. The jury in Bulgaria and Ukraine gave this nothing. I just don't understand. I'm getting a little bit pissed off. I really like this song.
I mean,
this is my favorite Croatian entry.
It also didn't. It got 8 from Montenegro. It got 0 from the Serbian jury.
I don't know why. I genuinely don't know why. It's stupid.
I mean, I have to say, I'm very pleased that this was, in my opinion, a really well staged entry. And again, I think we saw lots of examples this year of delegations with smaller budgets being able to stage very effectively. And I think that's evened the playing field a lot because we went through a period of time where it felt like the more money you spent, the better you did, to some extent. That now, I think the trend has reversed slightly and it's evening out a little bit, which is great for the contest. This is the other thing with those new countries coming in from Eastern Europe is it totally rebalances it in terms of, who's getting the rewards. and it makes it a lot more even, in my opinion, because the sort of the regional effects balance each other out best when all regions are fully represented, which was not the case in the Balkans for years before this. I was genuinely considering before this year making a video like something along the lines of how the Balkans fell out of love with Eurovision because so many countries had left. And speaking of which, Bosnia is totally cooked. They are now just the broadcaster in Bosnia is so broke they've put their bank details on their website and just said like, please send us some money.
God.
So they are done. They're so done, and it's really, really sad that it's come to that. But yeah, no, Croatia, good to be in the final. They deserve to be in the final. I'm not surprised they didn't get much further than this, though. I think this was a fair result. And I haven't seen many people be like, they were robbed. So there we go. That's interesting. Someone's pointing out in chat, Israel ranked them last.
How convenient is that?
Yeah. And actually, what I'm going to do is let me look up Eurovision detailed results. You want to see? I mean, there's plenty of examples like Azerbaijan and Armenia rank each other last, but obviously neither of them in the final this year, so we didn't see it. I'm going to get the detailed results up for a second because I want to show you what partisan jury voting looks like, and it's blatant. Vienna 26, event info, grand final. They bury the voting in so many different tabs. Voting, and then Israel voting breakdown. Here we are. So, Croatia, here we are. These were the Israeli jury's ratings of Croatia. 24, 24, 22, 24, 24, 22, 24.
Fuck. Yeah, but it makes sense because they had a problem with the comments. But I also find it so incredibly gross how the EBU cannot give one slap on the wrist when someone is being that insensitive. Like, these people, the commentators, they have been made aware of what the message of the song, of each song is. Why are you making comments like that?
How did Felicia do? Okay, I was wondering if they would have put Sweden 23rd. That would have been quite funny if they had done. No, 23rd was it was Lithuania. I guess they just really didn't like Solikiana Mass. But yeah, so I mean, it seems to me pretty obvious that the Israeli jury. I mean, to be clear, lots of juries are at this. This is just the first example. Lots of they bomb an entry very deliberately, and this was a example of that. Let's go on to Czechia, whose final performance was needlessly compromised by the Austrian broadcasters' incompetence. I mean, let's imagine for a second that we'd had the actual performance as it was. What did you think of it? How was it?
Without the technical difficulty mishap.
Yep.
I really like this. This was one of my surprises of the week. Before the contest, I really, really liked this song. After seeing the full performance live in Semi 2, it was one of the countries I was rooting for. It was so incredibly well put together, the staging. We connected with him. His vocal. I don't remember when the last time was that I was this blown away by somebody's vocal at Eurovision. Like, Daniel just started, doing the long note in Semi 2. My jaw was on the floor.
Unbelievable, right?
And yeah, it just, and the staging at that moment with the camera zooming out and it swirling and doing all of that, it was just so tastefully done. Everybody I know really rooted for this in Semi 2. Like, the reaction to them getting announced 10th. We were over the moon with excitement for that happening because we all really liked it. But I guess just in the final, it got lost. I don't think the hiccup with the camera caused a whole lot of damage, to be fair. Maybe it would have been 15th. I still think this is a very good result for Czechia.
Yeah, when it came to the qualification, I don't know how many of you guys know this. Some of you may see there's a video knocking about on social media somewhere. I was actually with the Czech delegation and the dancers who were moving the props, the dancers, but you know what I mean. Their stage team during the qualification sequence, and it was really funny because they were all shitting themselves, but Cesar Sampson was there with them, and Cesar was like, "It's gonna be fine. They're gonna qualify." So he was totally relaxed the entire voting sequence. Everyone else is shitting themselves. Czechia qualifies. Everyone's like, "Yes, oh my god!" And everyone's jumping.
I mean, they almost didn't.
And Cesar is still there, like, "Hey, but I told you it was going to be fine." So the answer is listen to Cesar Sampson. And if, by the way, if you remember Julia Steen, I think her name was, from the Austrian national selection, she was Daniel's offstage vocal support.
Oh, I saw, yeah. I saw.
And it was actually Cesar Sampson as well who linked them up. And that worked beautifully. The whole thing came together perfectly. I'm so glad the Czechs made the final. And it shows they really wanted, this is one of the countries where I think really benefited from having juries back. And we saw that. The juries took them to the final. And the public did not, bizarrely. Serbia next. And this is the funniest result for me. Half of the points came from 2 countries. Listen, if there's one thing the Balkans loves, it's the Balkans. I'm really glad this is in the final, and I'm really glad it did great with the public in the semi. Maybe fell victim to the fact that there were other metal goths knocking about in the final. What was your take on
Romania.
This? Yeah, how do you feel?
Romania.
Do you think it had a big impact on the final result for this?
Yeah, Romania completely buried this. It was more accessible. It just got overshadowed by Romania. And if I don't know, like this again makes sense in terms of result. 17th sounds about right. This was never gonna be high, especially with the juries. I could have seen maybe a higher public result, but for that, Romania shouldn't have been there. If it wasn't, this could have scored 100 from the public. But it didn't because, again, Romania overshadowed it.
Yeah. Still, it was good. I wanted...
Oh, yeah,
I will say, I much preferred... You know how they did a version with the orchestra?
Yeah, But even without it, I love this song.
With the orchestra, it would be contending for my favorite song of the year.
It was really good. And with and without, I love this song.
But I'm just glad. This is what I'm glad they're here. Next one, a bizarrely controversial entry because of all. I mean, firstly, this just shows that advertising campaigns don't earn you new votes. Advertising campaigns activate a voter base that is already ready to vote for you. That's why it works for Israel, and that's why it doesn't work for Malta. What's your take on this?
Yeah, it was very controversial for such a bland song. I am not a fan of this song. I don't like ballads like that. Cliche, love. Blah, 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 blah. It's just so naff. It's so naff. And I'm tired of this. So I'm really happy that it didn't enter the top 15. I'm sure Aiden is the best person on earth, and we should all give him flowers, and we should all give him our money. But this song pisses me off. My cortisol levels spike, and it was very funny because during the final, I was here with some of my friends from back home. They came to visit me, not because of Eurovision. They just came to visit me, and both of them really liked Bella, and they would just constantly nag me about the fact that I don't like it and sort of scold me. Meanwhile, I was ready to, overturn a chair where the song started because I really don't like the song at all.
I mean, I really feel very differently about the song is the thing. I always liked the song. I remember getting to that. I remember watching it in Moldova, actually, the final 2 in the national final. And I had that, and I had Matt Black's song. I really love both of those. So I was like, I can't lose here. And they both got about a bajillion each from the public. I will say that what I saw, the staging wise, a few weeks before when I did that video, was better than what we saw on TV.
Yeah, I watched your video and I kind of felt left wanting more.
Yeah, the vision was not fully executed, I felt. I felt that the Zoetrope screens could have maybe been used a little better. I would have loved to see them flickering in the way a Zoetrope does, rather than having those silhouettes. The screens that were around him.
Yeah.
I would have, and also, the spinning was much faster in what I saw, and there was and the camera shot tightened in to just like here, just his head and shoulders halfway through the final section, and that was the bit that you see in the video. There's a bit where I go, "Whoa!" That was that. So we lost those things, and because of that, that is why there was this dissonance between what I was reacting to and what I saw and what the general feeling was in the final. If you'd seen what I had seen, you would have felt the same way as me.
Probably. But if we're speaking strictly song-wise, this was never for me. It still is not for me. Wasn't for me when it won the national final. But the result, again, it's perfectly reasonable. Like, Malta never does well with the televote. And I never saw the odds working out. Like,
on the flip side, Aiden's wanted to do this a really long time, and I'm happy for him that he
yeah,
got to the
yeah,
final.
good for him, absolutely.
Not 89 points and 18th place is still a decent result. Very solid finish in the semi-final. They came 8th with 143, so they were in comfortably. Qualified. We actually did something that is not that common for Malta, which is qualify with the public, and comfortably as well. Qualified by 25 points with the public and got sort of vote from a wide spread of places. Did very, very well. The Bulgarian jury there, for example, which is something maybe we should talk about. Malta 12 to Bulgaria, Bulgaria 12 to Malta. Anyway.
Oh yeah, there was something there, but
there's a bit. I mean, you can never. It's all hearsay. Cyprus. She was much better in the final. Like, so much better in the final to the semi-final. It was genuinely like a stunning difference.
Yeah, because the second semi-final performance was a complete car crash.
This is true. This is also true. But I was proud.
Complete car crash.
I was proud of her for it's difficult to do that one night and then get back on the same stage the next night and deliver so much better. So I think we should give her credit where credit is due for being able to pull herself out of that spiral, because at that point, things can get away from you and the likelihood is it'll get worse, not better. You have to have, you have to be a professional and you have to sort of find a way to scoop it out. What I think was quite funny was the way she said, "You want more," was like, "You want more."
Yeah. I also
I'm
loved that.
commanding you to want more.
I don't know. I think if she sang better, this could have done more. But again, I think it got overshadowed by Bulgaria a lot.
All the girls.
I still like the song. The studio cut was incredible.
The studio version was a real gag. Everything else, yeah.
Not so much.
Europe does not like EDM, and I really need to go to what is surely the single most shocking element of the results this year. Sweden scored 17 points from the public. They scored 1/3 of the points that were scored by Too Epic to Be True. This was shocking to me. Really shocking. What's your take?
About outcome in the final or the semi-final?
Both.
Okay, for the semi, I think A, people just don't like EDM apparently. And B, maybe people who would have voted for this thought it was gonna be safe. Because it's Sweden. Sweden always makes it.
There was no fandom mobilization for this at all. Whereas you look at some others, and I think you do see signs of, people flooded to certain songs. Like, if you look at, let me find Cyprus. Like, it wouldn't surprise me if some of these public vote points started coming in because of Eurofans and stuff in some of these places. Because we have a lot more influence in the semi-final than in the final.
Yeah, that's true. About the final, people just don't like EDM. And I don't know why. Because I love this entry. I really, really like Felicia herself. I really like my system. I thought it was well put together. I cannot see why this was in 20th, especially with the juries.
Yeah.
I don't see why.
I think it
I
just
don't
got
know.
pushed
I don't
out
know.
on both sides. It got pushed out by other things, and I think it shows that people don't like EDM very much because it got essentially the
Yeah.
same result with the public that Red Sebastian got last year.
Yeah.
And this was way better executed, better staged
Oh
than
yeah.
Strobe Lights. Um,
Definitely.
but there we go. Let me quickly catch up on the super chats. V Sweet says, "Can we make a prayer circle for the EBU to make a good decision this year?" I mean, fingers crossed. But if you watched my video yesterday, I discuss and evaluate what I think is going to happen next at length. Przemek says, "Prey was always overhated by the fandom, and Czechia was my winner, and I voted for them. But come on, it would never get more than 9 televoting points." We did kind of know. We kind of knew that Czechia would get blamoed by the public with that song, but that's fine. Nero says, "Public and EDM, name a duo with less chemistry than the Public and EDM. A duo with less chemistry."
Cool.
Boy George and Senate. Ethan then
Oh.
says, "We all love girl bops, right? But what would a boy bop sound like? Lighter by Kyle Alessandro."
Yeah.
Um,
So 17th in the final.
yeah. Zvelfbunk says, "On a positive note, if there will ever be a Eurovision 20th place compilation on YouTube, Felicia would be featured right after Gabe's effort in 2025.
You can never escape it.
I
Good
can
luck.
never escape. It's been so long. Bala did okay, and that's electronic, says Tom and an orange is an orange. Bala has way more aura than this. No offense to Felicia. Bala was
yeah.
cool. Like Bala is really current and really cool in a way that this is
And more accessible.
Yeah. And that's just because EDM is not in the same place. But yeah, I thought Bella was great fun. Moving on to one of the funniest results, and Cheese has just done a poop in protest against me streaming. Well, she made it to the final, and you know what? Italy was like, wow.
Yeah, that was so strange. She made the final and ate shit because this song is the worst song ever. This song is the worst song ever. I cannot listen to this. I'm not even joking. Like, I get so angry. I feel like I need to smash something, and I never do that. This song is awful. I don't like her too. And I don't like her, and that is the truth of the matter. And I cannot help myself. I don't know her.
Mind her. I like she
No,
went
no, no,
through
no, no,
some
no, no.
shit. She went through some shit this
Okay.
season. She went through
Me
some
too.
shit, and she came out on the other side. And actually,
What side? 21st place in the final.
yeah,
What other
she
side?
qualified. No one thought she was
Who
going to
cares?
qualify. Come on.
She shouldn't have qualified.
And she did her
She
little
shouldn't have.
shuffle. You know, she was like,
Oh my god. No.
Now, did I think,
Terrifying.
was I astonished this qualified and slightly mystified? Yes. But I kind of get it. And given how shit things started off for her with her voice performance and stuff, I couldn't help but root for her a little bit by the time she got there. Obviously, if you look at that semi-final results, there she is. It was just that she got... I mean, that is something that is a little inexplicable. This got 3 12s from the juries in the semis. I actually didn't notice this until just now. Which is
I don't know.
quite something in a semi as loaded as this one.
Yeah.
And that carried them over the line. And you know, and of course, this went through, which meant, because of all those jury 12s, our good friends Vanilla Ninja missed out. Would you have preferred that outcome?
Yes.
It would have been really funny.
Absolutely.
It would have been really,
I
really
would have
funny.
preferred Boy George with the radiator to
No!
qualify over this.
No!
No.
No.
I
Got
hate
him.
this song.
Got him.
I
You're
hate
saying
dancing
things
on
you don't
this.
mean. You're saying things we don't
I
mean.
mean
We're
it.
moving on. We're moving
I
on.
absolutely mean it.
You're an angry little man, Gotham. You're an angry little man. Now, robbery. I loved this. No
Yeah,
one else seems to
me
have
too.
loved it. Okay, I did think if there was
No,
someone
I
else,
did.
if there was someone else who was going to love this, you were more likely than Jay. So
Yeah.
why don't you tell us about this?
Yeah. I really like this. It's not in my mm, top five for sure. It's not. But it is one of the songs which I consciously remember and I think about and throughout the show, and it didn't vote, but I probably would have voted for it. I really like it. I resonate with the message. It felt raw.
Hmm.
I contrary to what people say about the vocals live, I think the grunting and the rasp that he did on purpose, he it helped with the conveyance of the message.
Hmm.
Uh, it was very artistic, mm, and that's why it got 22nd place because it was too sophisticated. And I said this last year when I was on this live stream discussing the results. I'm gonna say it again. Most people that watch Eurovision, unfortunately, are simpletons, so
Like
they do not
me.
get stuff like you like this, right?
Yes, but I'm still a
Obviously, I'm not
simpleton.
talking about you.
Yeah,
You
well,
are, but about other things.
whatever. I will say one juror in the entire competition points out Stephen ranked this first. One juror in Finland. And that's how it ended up with all those jury points from Finland. Because there was one juror that was like,
Well, good.
wow, that's the one for me. I also love how their public place is like, even if no one else believes in me, I know Latvia believes in me.
I love Latvia
Oh, what a beautiful country.
because we all need a Latvia in our lives.
Hmm.
Yeah, but I always knew this was gonna happen. I'm just very glad it reached the final.
Yeah, no, me too.
I'm just very sad
Me
that
too.
it's lower than Belgium.
And it was pretty comfortable in the end. I mean, it qualified in eighth,
Yeah.
which is and it came eighth with the public and 10th with the juries. The diaspora stayed asleep for this though in the final. Like
Oh yeah.
a Lithuanian entry getting zero from the UK is quite unusual. So that's really something. I'm going to quickly catch up
I
with
feel
the.
like the
Sorry, go on.
just one thing. I think both the Lithuanian and the Polish diaspora was virtually non-present in the final, which we haven't seen in ages.
And that again shuffles the results around more. Isa Frieza says, "Do you
Yeah.
think Sweden has a problem with final staging almost always being a downgrade from Melfest?" Yes, on one level, but on another level, most people who see it at Eurovision have never seen the Melfest performance. This is a fandom problem, not a wider continent problem. So I don't think it's a big deal. M is not here says, "I volunteer to be everyone's punch bag by liking this song a lot." And XX Depression XX5772 says, "God forbid a diva with bangs shuffles on the ice." Hell yeah. Hell yeah. You look very sad about this, Gotham.
No.
Okay. Let's move on
I'm
to
actually I'm inconvenienced.
I'm on fire, fire. Are you on fire, fire, Gotham?
I didn't actually mind this in the final, which is
The
very
performance was
strange.
quite good, wasn't it? Like, she
Yeah, yeah,
actually,
the staging was good.
yeah, the song is complete buns, but the staging was much, much better. And actually, she sold it quite well. I thought she was going to get a point. I didn't see this getting a zero. I thought they would maybe get one.
No, I did.
Yeah?
No,
Tell
I
us about
saw
it.
this coming.
Tell us about it.
What is there to say? This song, purely on a song merit, this is just like mayonnaise on a white bread, plain, no toasted, nothing. Like this song is awful, awful song, and the staging carried it to the 12 points from the jury collectively. By the way, not from a single one,
Yeah?
just collectively. Yeah, there is nothing else to say. Like, I'm tired of Germany, and I cannot believe they wasted the potential because after Boller from last year, they did have a little bit of momentum. Okay, you know, with the whole which was present last year with Baller, the whole stereotypes about young Germans being cool, Berlin, and all of that stuff, Berghain. They could have been like, okay, we need to send contemporary stuff, bangers, but very contemporary, very Berlin. No, Sarah Engels. Because why? Because we all love Sarah Engels, which is why she got zero from the public.
They love her in
Annoying
Germany.
country. Yeah, but Germany is not voting. So
This
why
is-
are we picking her?
No, I mean, this is the thing, is that it was definitely a step back. Their national final this year was abysmal. Um,
Yeah.
there were one
Yeah.
or two, like Wavy Boy, and also, was her name Molly Sue? The one whose song was called Optimist, and it was about being chronically ill. Those two I liked. But most
I
of that
don't
show was a
particularly like it.
crime. Um,
To be fair, I think if Wavy Boy won, I don't think he would have done a whole lot better.
yeah, I think he would have got
I
a point,
think,
though, at least.
yeah, true. But I think the German delegation, if they, I think they might be satisfied at this point with mediocrity. But if they are not satisfied with mediocrity and want to repeat what they did with Baller, I think they should go scouting for young artists who study music. Because I have two friends from back home who study both music in Berlin. If they really want to do something, go scouting for young artists who are
Yeah.
not that established and give them a chance to do something comparable to Aberrantina. That's how you do it. Because with unauthentic crap like this, you're not gonna get anything.
Why did
Because
you
what
say
do
it
you
like
mean?
that? You're like, crap.
Because I just remember the lyrics and I'm in pain and I'm in suffering and they
Boy,
should
I'm
pay me
out of
damages.
your league. I
I'm
can't
on
remember.
fire, fire, you a liar, liar.
Stop denying, no lying no more.
Okay,
Like
yeah,
a
sorry.
vampire. Yeah, okay, let's move on. Blauers Mention says, as a German, I have been traumatized by fire, maybe as much as Embers did for you. She was so off key that I cringed myself off the sofa. To be fair, in her defense, I don't think she was particularly off key, but yeah, it's a bad song. Europunzel says, I'm done with Germany wasting a spot in the grand final. Germany pay a lot of money. Germany is the single biggest financial contributor to the contest by a distance. Like, it's like Germany and then the UK and then like a big gap and then France, Spain, Italy, and then another massive gap and then everyone else, basically. Is how that's how it is. But it keeps on going to someone who deserved far more than 6 points. You know, personally, I love Cosmo. I think this song was fun and silly and it made a great host entry. And he is the only Eurovision artist ever to openly call for MPreg fanfiction to be written about other Eurovision artists live on an ESC Gabe stream. So, can't fault that. Got him. What's your take on Tanzshine?
I liked it.
Thank
I
God.
can see why it
Thank
got.
God.
No.
I was worried it
I
would be an I hate fun moment, and I was going to be like,
no. I was
no!
okay with it. I don't share the sentiment of your minions and you. I am okay with this. I thought it was fun. It didn't get me moving, but then again, I have arthritis, so which is not true. I don't know why I said that. But yeah, it was just okay. And the result I could have foreseen easily. This was always gonna get like 6 points. But good for him. He looks like a fun guy. I really
Yeah.
like the star on his face.
It doesn't really matter if you're the host entry. Just don't
Yeah.
get zero. And he didn't in either part. And so, you know, good on him. And finally, hey, listen. I know, no matter what, we have one friend in the entire world. The only country that likes us at all is the Ukrainians. Everyone else completely hates us. Thank you, Ukraine. Slava Ukraini.
Героям слава!
We love you. You're our best friends. We got 1 point. 1. Look, Mum, 1 point.
You're so welcome.
Thank you.
Well,
I
it wasn't me.
thought
If
the
it was up to
stage
me.
show. I was speaking to my parents earlier today, and obviously my parents watch my videos, and they were like, "So the UK entry, he seemed like a lovely guy when you did that video with him. I wasn't too sure about his performance though," said my mum and dad. So, I love him. I love the studio version of this song actually as well. I think it's really fun. The tables, not sure about the tables. What did you think?
I didn't like this. I'm sorry, guys. I really want to root for this guy because he seems so enjoyable and lovely and fun and like a good banter. But I don't like the song, and I didn't like the performance, and it felt, and this is nothing personal to him because I'm sure he's a great artist, but that performance on stage and whatever happened in those 3 minutes was just straight up noise pollution. Noise pollution.
I think the problem is that he's really good live when he has his synth and he's doing mixing stuff live on stage. That's his environment. This wasn't really, and I think having him doing all that running around and stuff took him out of his comfort zone. I would have kept him more in the same place, surrounded by a bunch of doohickeys and contraptions. I would have made him a bit of a mad scientist. Like, he literally designed a violin flamethrower like a few weeks ago. So you could use, there's things like this that you could use and have, be really fun, right? But sadly, they it didn't show him in his true form, in my opinion. And we didn't see enough personality, which is not something I expected from this entry. So I think a lot of lessons to be learned for the BBC didn't come together. But I love him and all of the many doohickeys that he has built over the years. I'm going to go back to his museum at some point. Because he's just a lovely, lovely, lovely man who deserves better than whatever this is. And Danda, I know it's been tough, but we'll get through this. Let's take a look at some non-qualifiers. Firstly, too epic to be true.
To be true.
And did it. What was it? And now
Here
I'm
I
here.
am
Here,
with
that's
you.
it. Here I am with you. So got him. Did the spark between us write the plot for us?
No. Absolutely not.
It
There
got
was
him.
no spark between us to begin with.
This got really close. This got really, really close.
Yeah, which is surprising. In hindsight, I don't know who voted for this.
The Finns, 12 points.
Oh my.
And 8 from Lithuania
I-
and 7 from Sweden. The only reason it got close is because the only way that Estonia could have gotten a more favourable draw would have been if they had Latvia. And if they had Latvia, they would have qualified. Because they would have got at least 12 more points and they would have gone past Belgium.
Yeah, you're right. I'm just glad it didn't, because I really don't like the song. I mean, I want to root for Estonia so bad. I love Estonia, but this was just not it. Although the performance wasn't that terrible. They did some polishing, but when the issue is the song, you cannot do all that much. It's not. The song is so horrific. It's not salvageable at all.
Yeah, it's they made it as fun as they could, and me and Jay both thought it might qualify, and I was gonna have to make a big apology, but ultimately it fell just short. It was quite funny to see how close it got though, and how much it was just the neighbors were all being like, "Yeah, well done, Estonia. You can go through." Belgium.
To be fair,
Sorry, go on. Go ahead.
in the performance, I don't know if you remember that, but towards the end, they purposely do a slow-mo of her barely lifting her fucking leg up.
Amazing. Masterful genius.
What is that
Connor.
about?
Masterful artistic
And Steve-
genius.
And no, it worked because that single moment had more personality than Sila from Belgium on that stage, who has the personality of a shoelace. Live
Poor
when performing. I don't know
Sila.
her in real life.
She doesn't have.
Awful.
I don't think she has the personality of a shoelace. What a thing to say! I think Asila is. I like Asila. I won't be having the Asila slander. Well, I mean, I've engaged in the Asila slander, so maybe I will be.
Yeah.
In any case, no. I think this did about as well as it could have done. I'm just going to quickly check in on the super chats. Thank you so much to everyone who's sent them in. 12th Punk says, to you as a Brit, how is the current mood towards Eurovision in the UK after the 0-point hat trick? How are the good feelings after 22? All gone. All gone. We are exactly where we were before 22. All the good work has been undone. We're back to square one. We are back to square one. And I think it's as bad as it's ever been. Europunzel says, Belgium over Estonia is a crime. I would have taken Estonia for sure. I definitely would have taken Estonia over Belgium. But there we go. Let's move on to 12th place. No one spoiled the F1 for me, by the way, because I've just I'm gonna watch it afterwards, and I've just seen that I've got it on a screen over there. I'm running 15 minutes behind or something. Portugal was next. Again, I think they did what they could. They managed to work around their big struggles, which were primarily that the singers had no charisma. And they did this by basically keeping them still and moving everything around them. And you know what? I thought it worked quite well. I thought it was really sweet. And you know what? I sat next to my fiance and watched this performance in the semi-final, and I held her in my arms and told her I loved her very much. So I got everything I wanted out of this. What did you think? Got him?
I really like this entry.
Yeah?
Yeah, very sad that it didn't reach the final. I always love Portugal in Eurovision. It's just so up my alley, all of it. It's constant yearning. And this entry again, the entry of absolute yearning, the entirety of Portugal is yearning at all times. And I love it. And I really like this song. And I was very sad that it didn't make it through. It wasn't that close, so
It was. I mean, it wasn't a million miles away, but Portugal doesn't have the kinds of friends that Estonia had.
Yeah.
So like, you couldn't shuffle the countries around, right, to get this into the final.
No.
There's simply no way that would happen.
I'm
Whereas
just
with
surprised
Estonia,
that the
you can.
juries put it that low.
Yeah, I thought it would qualify with the juries.
Yeah.
And I mean, it wasn't far off. Lithuania was the lowest jury qualifier with 46. So it really was almost there, but just not quite.
Mm-hmm.
Moving on, qualified with the public. And you know, ultimately, what I'm looking at, the big thing that took this, essentially working on the assumption that this would get 10 points from Croatia and 10 points from Serbia. That would take it up to 89, and then it would be 2 points away. The friends didn't friend hard enough on this one.
No. I mean,
I'm really gutted.
Greece gave it more in the jury than those two collectively,
Yeah.
so I'm very sad. Like, after seeing the live performance, I knew it was beyond over. But I wasn't that invested in the song. To be fair, I caught myself multiple times when I really wanted them to qualify. It wasn't because of the song, it was because of her and the country. Not because of like the actual song. The actual song I don't mind. I listen to it sometimes, but I'm just like devastated for them. I think they did so much elevation and just wasn't enough. And I can get why. Like I also thought it looked like a non-qualifier when I watched it.
It was unfortunate because you could tell it was going to be on the line. But then I remember I saw the jury performance and I was like, oh no. Because it wasn't perfect vocally. And then it's like, okay, you have an uphill battle. You need the public now. And to be fair, she qualified with the public. Not convincingly, but she did her job on the live show night, even if it wasn't perfect. I'm just sad that this really felt like the kind of opportunity. This felt like an opportunity that was not able to be fully taken, and that is, a shame. But they did their best,
Yeah.
which is not something we can say for Mr. George and Mrs. Has a rich wife in San Marino, because I mean, firstly, hilarious result, by the way. Boy George's shilling for Israel on Twitter earned him some points, and then obviously the Italians came through for San Marino. Other than that, everyone was basically like, "Get that away from me."
Yeah.
You know what? It was silly and fun. It was also ridiculous. Like, it was beyond ridiculous. Why were there so many props? There was so much going on. Why? Why were they doing it?
Yeah, I'm terrified of the fact that this did better with the public than Sweden.
Yeah.
I'm terrified.
Dear,
I don't know what's going on. but I'm scared.
Tigger Boy, thank you so much for the subscription. I think this was always terrible, and I'm really glad it did badly because I got to be honest, I find Boy George to be one of the most unlikable characters who's ever been involved in the Eurovision Song Contest.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Like, and it just a really horrible person who has said lots of extremely unpleasant things to people on the internet. Loved picking fights in Instagram comment sections. Well, there's your result. And then, you know what? This is how stupid he is. He went on his Instagram live, on his Instagram stories, and he was like, oh, people in France were telling me they couldn't vote for me. France didn't vote in this semi-final.
Idiot.
You
Idiot.
absolute gold standard. Oh my God. It's just like, he's like, oh, well, it seems very suspicious. Who is rigging it against you, Boy George? Who? Who is rigging it
Nobody
against
knows
you?
who you are. And I love how she, in the performance in Hit, just goes, Boy George! Nobody cares.
Nobody
cares.
Yeah, the reaction she wanted was, yeah, and instead she got, ugh. I think it would have got more points without him, honestly. What a total just
I don't
shower.
think it influenced anything.
I think, yeah, God. Anyway, Tudor, thank you so much. Says, hey, my birthday was yesterday, and so I thought I'd give a little back to the best Eurovision creator with precisely 67 Moldovan lei. Tudor, happy birthday, and it was so lovely to meet you in Moldova. What did you think about Moldova? Okay, cheers, Matt. It was great. We talked about it before. Make sure to go back and look. We did go through the entire final. Last, 15th place for Bzikabi. We all knew it was coming last, didn't we, when we saw it?
Oh, yeah. This was the biggest. This was worse than Cyprus in terms of vocal and in terms of bombing. This was awful.
They didn't blend at all, did they? The three vocalists didn't blend whatsoever.
But they didn't sing like a big portion of it. Thank God for him, the guy, Georgi or whatever. Thank God for him, because those two couldn't sing. If Antigone was at the drunk karaoke on a Friday night, them two were also there with her, throwing up in the bathroom.
Oh.
Like,
this was
horrifying.
I get the impression it was his project, and he was like, hey, do you guys want to get the band back together? And they were like, yeah, all right, because they're not professionals. He is. I think that showed.
Oh, yeah. They also didn't look enthusiastic at all.
Yeah, they did. It was really funny. Every now and then I'd see them, I'm like, do you really want to be here? Like, I was a bit like...
I don't think they did.
Yeah, it's just... Yeah, it was a shame. But there we go. Last place was very much expected. I don't think any of us were surprised by this.
Oh, yeah.
I'm glad they got some points. You know, it was better than Jiva the Diva, who we'll come on to in a minute, who also got points, but less. So, we're going to semi-2, and in 11th place, no country has ever come 9th with the public and 9th with the jury and failed to qualify. Switzerland has now done that.
Croatia
was 10th in both.
Ah, okay. Apologies.
Did you know it's theoretically possible to come as high as 6th in both and still not qualify? It's improbable, but it's possible. But yeah, I mean, it's a real gut punch, I think, when you're in this situation. Yeah. But ultimately, that's how the system works. What can you do, you know? I mean, what did you think of this? My impression of it was the staging was maybe a little too much, a little muddled, but I loved the message and I loved some of the little details.
Oh, yeah.
What were your thoughts?
Yeah, I did think the staging was a bit too overcrowded, especially towards the end. You didn't know where to look exactly. You kind of lost the connection with her. Other than that, if we're speaking about the song and the message, I really like this. I really, really dig this as a studio cut. And again, I didn't mind it live either. Like, I'm just very sad. I did call this. I called all of the non-qualifiers from Semi-2 prior to the qualifier announcement. But it's just very sad. It's just very sad. Like, this entry should have made it.
Yeah, no, I think we had it on the borderline. I was sort of in or out with this. But ultimately, the only route for me, because these 9, I was pretty sure about, the only route it opened a bit when Cyprus bungled it so badly, but Cyprus still
Yeah.
holding up with the jury is what got this through
Yeah. Yeah.
over Switzerland, and it's a real shame. But this was the only one that was close because the scores fall away hard, and we'll start with Luxembourg. Come back, please, with a song that actually is befitting of like your personality and your talent, Eva Maria, because Julie Orgard, right? This was just not a faithful representation of what Eva Maria could do, in my opinion, and I was really sad about the fact that we didn't get that full, picture. I don't think you have. This doesn't strike me as something you'd particularly enjoy.
No. I know people who hate this. I didn't hate it, but I just didn't care for it whatsoever. I thought it was very bland, and I think she was better than this song. Definitely.
It's just a shame. I mean, if you look at the points, I
Yeah.
find it funny that the Danes and the Austrians really liked it. That's a blaring siren red flag. Is if the Austrians
Mhm.
and the Danes feel your song has middling televote appeal. Scheuchler says, I'm going to do some super chats quickly before we go to the next one. Senate featuring Mr. Blobby. More points than featuring Boy George? Probably. Stephen Bose says, it was so good in the studio. Yeah, it was a lot better in studio. M is not here, says, hashtag justice for Alice. We agree. Neuro says, can we blacklist the Danish from national finals, I beg? That may be a little extreme, but there we go. I think their record speaks for itself, though, at the moment. I think they're clearly not good. I was sad about this. Kat loved this. This is one of Kat's favourite Eurovision entries of all time. I love Atvara so much, and I really connected to this song. I understand why we're in this position. I think if I put aside my personal biases towards this, as someone who cares about it very much, I think I know how we ended up here. Gotham, what's your take?
Mhm. Yeah, I agree with you. I love the message. I like the song, but I saw this coming. It was just not accessible at all. I'm just surprised the juries didn't give it more love. That's like the only thing I'm surprised about. The public and the overall placement makes sense.
Yeah. Shout out to the UK for being the only country to give this like proper love. Like we gave it 8 points in total. Well done us. So we were top of the pile. We love you, Latvia. I wish others did too. On the same amount of points, but actually doing slightly worse with the public and slightly better with the jury. Including getting a 12 was Armenia. I mean, this was just noise.
Awful, awful, awful. Manslop.
I knew it was going to go badly wrong when we got the audience poll back, and this had come like 14th.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, wow, this is so... what's the word? People weren't getting it. Yeah, incoherent.
Yeah, yeah, I hate this. This and Belgium. Can burn.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was a really not a good entry, and it didn't come together. He seems quite fun, but the song simply was not. At the same time, it did 47 points better than Jiva the Diva.
We gave it 2 points.
Yeah, 2 points from Bulgaria.
My mom liked this song. I don't know what's going on.
Well, she was
I
on the
think this
jury,
is-
right? So
I mean, certainly there was someone her age on that jury. It's very much this. There was this because back home in Eastern Europe, Turkish soap operas are, or at least used to be on high with like the elderly, and people constantly watch it as well, them as well. And this song just sounds like a soundtrack from a Turkish soap opera. Especially there was this one soap opera where there was this old guy who constantly fainted in every episode, and every time he fainted, like a song like hers would start playing. That's all that it reminds me of. Other than that, I don't know. Too is too much in my opinion.
yeah, I mean, she did fine. I think it's really funny. Well, I've got to find the video. I told you all that there was a video that when she said "bussy" in the live performance, there was a video. Everyone at the press center cheered. I believe a video has now been posted to Twitter. So I'm going to find it now. I've got it. Right. Thanks for this, Tim Vision. Wouldn't be possible without you. So this was in the press center. Wait for it.
Oh my god.
Everyone was just like, yes!
I have no words.
Oh, you know what? She gave us some good laughs. She gave us some
She
good
did.
laughs. And she then posted an AI-generated photo of her with a bunch of other contestants on Instagram. And I guess I could try and find that as well. Sadly,
Oh, please do.
her
Please.
username on, it should be, but it isn't, on Instagram is not Jiva the Diva. I wish it was. She should change it. Right, where is this? Or was it on her story or something? I think it must have been on the story. I can't see it anywhere.
Yeah. So sad.
Oh, well. Well, you know what? The point is, she did her best. 2 points was absolutely the max. Like, she was never going to get more than 1 or 2 points.
Yeah.
And she was an icon in her own way. And she really leaned into the bussy thing. So, yeah, Jiva GP.
Famous last words.
Yeah. Got him. Before we wrap up, what is your highlight from Eurovision this year? And what are your big takeaways going forward to 2027 and so on?
I don't have a highlight from the actual week of the show. My highlight is what we did with the trip to Moldova for the Moldova national final. That is my highlight. In terms of the actual show, and this ties into the takeaways, this was a disaster of a year. It cannot be that bad that it was saved by Bulgaria. Like, come on. Just that in itself, it's so like, I don't know. It's very sad to see what the contest has turned into, and as someone who has followed it as a fan for 12 years now, and someone who has seen more of the things up close as a content creator, um, I don't have a single nice thing to say about this. The only happy consequence of anything that happened this year is the fact that Eastern Europe overall did really well, particularly the 3 countries that returned, and it showed that if you have a good package, you can make it. Hey, but yeah, other
Nice.
than that, I don't feel bad about not covering the contest this year. I fully stand behind my choice. I think I don't have any. I don't feel sad that I didn't go to Vienna or I didn't get to experience any of that. And it's not only about the issue we have with the country rigging and constantly preventing the smooth sailing of this contest, or not even sailing, just existence. It's also what this fandom has turned into. People, the good people have left. A lot of ugliness has become evident in the past year. Uh, the December General Assembly vote just accelerated the mental deterioration of the people involved in this fandom. Uh, and moving forward, I don't know. Yeah, I have no qualms. Hopefully next year we won't be in this predicament. I really want to welcome everyone in my hometown properly without any of the issues we had this year. But I'm not qualified to be Baba Vanga and make predictions, so we'll see.
So, you may not be Baba Vanga, but you are Bangaranga. Got him.
Eh,
No, I think I agree with basically everything you said in terms of this was not a good year for the contest at all. It was not a good year for the contest, and there are a lot of things that need to change. I've also definitely seen, that there is a need for people to maybe extend each other a little more kindness this year, please. Like there's been some of the things that have happened have been quite extraordinary. And the other thing I will say, and I haven't really talked about this because I just at this point I just delete it and move on. The amount of abuse I have received on this channel from, especially, I have to say, the overwhelming majority of it comes from Israeli users. The amount of abuse I have received this week was dramatically more than the last 2 years. There was an element of it. There was an arrogance to it. It's kind of, this is our contest now. We won. So now we're going to try and hound you out. And I won't lie, is that all of this stuff, as if anything, has had the opposite effect. I'm really not going anywhere now. Because, quite frankly, if you're one of the many people who has said all kinds of awful things to me, including the people who were posting death threats in my live stream chats during the week in Vienna, fuck you, man. Like, fully, just fuck you. I'm not going anywhere. You've made me more committed to this now. I'm now doing this specifically to spite you. But, like, seriously, it makes me way more, like, determined to keep doing it. Because if these are the, if you're getting this kind of shit, then it means you're doing something right, is my opinion on this stuff. And I've had all this, so through all of this stuff, I've felt, despite all that nastiness, all the love from all of you who've been here through all of this experience. There we go. There was one just now in chat that Danda had to ban. There we go. And yeah, I'm really happy that I still get to spend it with all of you, with people like you, Gotham. I'm really glad to have friends like you in this contest where we, make space for each other and understand each other and, and are kind to each other. And I think everybody should be. But yeah, it's something that ultimately that it is a byproduct of the wider environment. And there is still there are still ways to change the wider environment. There are still ways to make this contest feel more moral, more ethical, like it has more integrity again. And I have been very pessimistic about Israel being removed for various reasons that I've outlined in my video that I put out yesterday. And if you haven't already seen that, go watch that as soon as the stream is done, and it explains my entire position. But we keep working anyway. We keep trying to protect the things that are important in this contest anyway. That trip to Moldova was my highlight as well. I've never felt so full of and overwhelmed with emotion, and joy in the Eurovision context as I had there. So, with that, this is now, and I'm very sorry about this, everyone. This is the last scheduled live stream of the season. I will be back. Don't worry. But we're going to be taking a little bit of a break on the live streams now. You're going to get a video next Friday. You're going to get a video the Friday after. Probably a video the Friday after that, right? I will keep making videos, and Eurovision Asia is not far away. And it looks like, even though I imagine the interest will be lower, I want to make videos about those national finals for you guys and try and go to some of them, if we can. I would love to do that. But in terms of the regularly scheduled national selections, in terms of regularly scheduled live streams, now is the time to take a little bit to recover. As you can imagine, I'm exhausted. I've been ill all week. I feel a lot better today, thank God. But, just need to be ready for that Eurovision Asia experience to come. Also, I know I haven't spoken about it in a while. I do have a second channel. I do want to do something with it at some point, so please do subscribe to it. So when the time comes, you guys are all there and ready. In the meantime, got him if you frozen. Got him.
Yes. Hello.
Oh, there you are. Hello.
Cut out. Sorry.
It's all right.
Cut
It's all
out.
right. It's just I saw you. You were looking suspiciously still. But yes, don't worry. We're going to be back. Subscribe if you haven't already. There's going to be loads more coming. They're not going to get rid of me for 2026, 27 even. And I will still be around. Thank you, Eric. Thank you, 12bunkt, for your super chats. And thank you, Verneri, who says Azerbaijan's downfall needs to be studied. Yes, indeed. Someone will post the second channel link in chat. yeah, but for now, thank you so much. Everyone thank Gotham and make sure to go subscribe to him if he ever comes back to YouTube because we miss you very much. And yeah, we will see you all again very soon. Thanks again for everything this season. This is not the end. It's just a little break and we'll be back before you know it. But for now, let's wave. Thank you. And we will see you in Bulgaria, but more personally in Bangkok. I should end the stream now, shouldn't I? I should probably press the button.